What is up, chat gang? I am the magical Mr. Mephisto. We interrupt your usually scheduled Soulbound campaign to bring you Muppets Evolved, game designed and GM'd by the Vince Venturella of Warhammer Weekly fame. I'm of course joined by usual Soulbound cast member Heywoah, you know from Big Winter, and Rocco, ya boy, coming off the bench. Will be joining us tonight as well. So I will be playing tonight, so this will be a lot of fun. Yeah, I guess that's it for the intro. This is pretty much a one-shot. This is an incentive left over from the Rantathon charity for MHA, where we raised $7,200 for Mental Health America's I Don't Mind campaign. So you guys wanted this. It's happening. Chat gang, we keep chat gang happy around these parts. So,
indeed. So we're going to be running Muppets Evolved tonight. I'm going to start this. I'm taking control, Meph. I'm taking control.
It's your show now, dude. It's your show.
All right, here we go. We will begin with the reading of the introduction. We've got to set the stage for our grand adventure.
I have to interrupt. I simply have to interrupt.
Please.
Can we get all the cams on stream?
There.
Oh, it is. It's on. I see it. You have to. Did you switch over to the watch now thing?
Oh, what's happening?
You have to if you just keep it on the main page, it won't. It'll only show the top two. If you hit watch now, it'll open it up to all four. At least I see all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
I had a technical difficulty, but we're good.
Good interruption. All right.
Don't worry, guys. I'm very new to Twitch, obviously.
Don't you do 4-hour streams? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but they go down every 2 hours. I gotta fix that.
That's a good point. 2 hours and 4 minutes, right? On the dot.
Mm-hmm. On the dot.
Okay. Here we go. It is the year 2078. All life on Earth has been eradicated in the Great Boom. All that is left are the Muppets. The Great Boom was the destruction of the Handed Ones, but it was the birth of a new people. A people of felt and fuzz, of plastic and fur, of fluff and fleece. A hardier people whose googly eyes stare ever into the yawning oblivion of the afterworld. In this destruction, brave Muppets cling to the edge of life, surviving from the roaming gangs of doozers and their evil masters, the Skeksis, avoiding the Goblins and their all-powerful king, a master of illusions and dreams. All of these creatures are not alone in the wasteland, for the natural dangers of fire and heat can reduce the Muppet to little more than a melted pile of plastic sludge and singed felt. So, it is within this world that we set our story. Specifically, of course, as per all one-shots and such post-apocalyptic stories, our story will be set in the West. So we will be in the west of the afterworld, a vast, dry, desert landscape, inhospitable to human life, high in radiation, cooking with heat, and almost absent of water, all of which would make normal life impossible to survive. But for Muppets, a hardier people, it means nothing. So our bold group begins their adventure. They're heading out west, and they search for a mythic Muppet, an ancient Muppet, one who was said to exist before the Great Boom, a Muppet known only as Firebird, whose magical feathers have healing properties capable of restoring a Muppet from the other side of the Great Sleep. So that's where we begin. I will now ask each of you to introduce the Muppets you will be Muppeteering tonight, I guess is what we would call it. There we go. We will begin with Heywoah. What do you got?
I'm Lamb Chop, daughter of Lamb Chop.
Nice. How would you describe your Muppet in a single sentence?
A diminutive, mostly white, little lamb tubular creature. Big smile. Fluffy little, they look like mitten hands.
Mm-hmm.
And on the wrists, fluff. And on the neck, fluff.
Nice. I like it. All right. Next up, Meph, what Muppet are you playing?
I'm playing Poet the Exiled, one of the sons and daughters of Animal. Much like their patron saint, Animal, he's got the sort of rounded, oblong head with just a mane of sort of matted fur and fluff and fuzz with a gaping maw. Unlike Animal, however, he is distinctly like pink and purple, wearing a denim like sleeveless vest with spikes spikes and studs. He calls it his battle armor. It is just a denim vest, though. The knuckle gloves, and crossed on his backs are a pair of wrapped-up baseball bats said to contain shards from the original drumsticks, their patron saint. Now, he is the exiled for a reason. And just a little sort of in-character blurb. Poet, write song. Poet, play song. Poet, bash critic who hates song!
Very nice. You probably want to avoid spiking the mic that hard during the show, but that's okay. Okay, good. Yes, absolutely. The GM in this game is absolutely the Muppet Master. Yes, I will be your Muppet Master for this evening. 100%. We lost Rocco. Where's he at? Oh, Rocco had to get his costume out. Okay. He's going, I was wondering what shout out to Rocco's wife, I assume, who was helping him get dressed.
No, we're yeah. Hi, I'm Rocco, your boy. I'm going to be playing Gunder. He is one of the Swedish chef's apprentices of the lodge. He goes around, he's about average size, a bit bigger than a hand. You can fit the whole arm in there, really, if you try so hard. Nice hat, wonderful beard, the works. He has his trusty frying pan with 2 A's with the little dots over them. And actually, I gotta ask, can I have the blunderbuss? Are we doing ranged weapons too,
Yeah,
or
sure.
just?
Sure, it's all the same.
Sure, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, just like for the old Muppets cartoon, if something gets stuck on the ceiling, I get to shoot it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a range attack would use your power, the same as anything else. Well, it's just a representation of that number. Muppets Evolved is a very narratively driven game, which it's all about the story we're all going to tell. Okay. So, okay, great. So we begin our adventure. As I said, you all find yourselves in the
Take the jacket off, the hat on though. Just say it.
That's fine. That's fine. I love the costume change. Special shout out to your wife.
Thank you. Oh yeah. Thanks, Jackie. Anyway.
Okay. So as I said, you find yourselves in the deserts of Arizona. You're not far from what would have been old Texas, and the ground is hot, dry, dusty. There is a settlement of Muppets in what would have been, they've sort of occupied the wreckage of what was Austin. And you've headed out from that safety and security of that city. Austin has indeed stayed very weird, as it is now home to one of the few safe cities for Muppets. However, recently a Muppet sickness has started spreading through, one that infects the felt and causes it to rot, like a mold, if you will. And so the elder Muppets sent you out to find the Firebird, who is said to occupy in this land. And they don't know exactly where, they just know west. He's said to live in the mountains somewhere to the west. And the three of you were chosen to go and search for where this Firebird could be found and to retrieve at least one of his feathers for its magical healing properties. Okay.
Fluff rot, disease, idea for song.
Oh.
Fluff rot. I don't got.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Very good.
So you begin basically by, there are still some tracks of roads and other, like, this world still has many of the vestiges of the Handed Ones who lived here before. And though most of their constructions and edifices are of little use, to your kind. Things like roads that they had created still provide some guidance through the wilderness. And so you find yourself tracking along one of their most famous roads. Many songs were written about this, which you know, and you occasionally will find disused and discarded signs that basically identify this as Route 66. You're tracking it west, okay?
Yeah.
And
This one says 99.
Ooh.
indeed, it seems to be an even mix. You can't really figure out the puzzle. Some of them seem to be 66. Some of them seem to be 99. You're not sure what the strange written language of the hand ones meant. So, but at any rate, you've been wandering along for several days and following this road. And even though you're not, like I said, Muppets don't eat or drink or anything like that, so those kinds of things don't pose you very much threat. You aren't going to starve or die of exhaustion or something like that. However, Muppets do still need protection from things like just the environment. There are random fires and things like that will happen out here. There is still brush, and it's very dry, and it will catch. Fire poses a special kind of danger to Muppets, as does the occasional rains. So it doesn't rain much here, but when it does in these lands, especially as you start to get into hills and mountainy territories, you know that these storms will sweep in and they'll just be super intense as they get caught in the valleys. And especially intense rains are very, very dangerous to you because they can rip away your fur and basically break you down, and you become susceptible to all sorts of bad conditions if you get too wet. Okay. So to that end, you found yourself staying in various abandoned buildings that the Handed Ones used to occupy. Some of them are very nice. Some of them are barely husks. They're all very strange. The Handed Ones seem very obsessed with various tchotchkes and small items that seem to have no real purpose to you. You cannot interpret the meaning of what these strange things are that they seem to adorn every wall and surface with. Like whether it be items and decorations, small little things that seem to be made of porcelain that they would have decorated, or strange squares that they would set on walls that just seem to look like somewhere else for no reason. All of these things are very mysterious artifacts of a previous time. And so, good.
It's like a window, but it looks inward into Poet's soul.
No, it looks at a tree and that guy's face.
Ooh.
Someone scribbled on this one.
Oh, it's a mirror. Okay.
Yes. Yes, mirrors are also Muppets do value mirrors highly. They are a collected and sort of rarefied item because they're obviously mostly broken. Muppets do enjoy having mirrors because that helps them perfect their dancing routines and things like that. So being able to dance in front of a mirror helps that, and a reflection is a simple thing. So Muppets very frequently will collect and trade in mirrors or mirror shards, which are very valuable things that Muppets themselves have lost the ability to produce. So, okay. You've been traveling for about 3 or 4 days, and your travel has been relatively uneventful. The important part to understand, just to really clarify, to speak out of DM or Muppet Master voice for a moment, the important part to clarify about this world is that all life of any significant size was killed in the Great Boom. Okay? So there aren't wolves or coyotes, or those things are all dead. All of that is dead. There's no Handed Ones, and all of the sort of fauna that previously existed is all dead. I mean, this is a hardcore apocalypse. Okay, this is what we call a full reset.
So
All
2020 finale. All right, I'm following. Go on.
Now, of course, that doesn't mean there's no life. I mean, obviously, life survived, right? So there are still things like bugs and very tiny creatures that are hardy enough to survive will require so little sustenance that they can sort of get by. Does that make sense? So it's not, so you will see still, bugs flying in the air, or spiders, or very, very tiny little ground mammals like little mice or something like that. Those kinds of things will still be around. But basically, if it's anything a squirrel or larger, it's dead. All right.
Metal.
This is full on apocalypse. So just so we understand the setting.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So the point being is that when you wander out here in the desert like this, what you're really afraid of is running into other Muppets more than anything, right? You're not going to have a pack of wolves come up and attack you or something like that. That's not, or coyotes or something. Okay. So as you're traveling, you've been on this road for a while, and there hasn't really been anything in the way of structures, and it's starting to get quite dark. You do still tire, and you do still need to rest. Like, you are now living beings, right? So you do get tired. And you finally come upon what looks like an old abandoned. You recognize it as one of these strange locations that had some kind of like liquid they would put in the boxes that they drove around. Okay, so many times the handed ones had these boxes they would drive, and these strange edifices they would build contained fluid, like food that would feed their boxes. Okay. Most Muppets don't have any concept of like cars or stuff like that.
No, box food is big important for hands.
Yeah.
So it looks like a broken down sort of, one of these places. And it's still in relatively good condition. And so seems like a good place to bed down for the night. What do you guys do? You gonna go check it out?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So how are you going to check out this random place? Like, are you going to sneak up to it and try to peer in the windows? You just gonna stride on in? What are your thoughts here? Tell me how you approach this.
Poet, grab Bertha. Off back. Leave Clyde. Walk.
Okay.
I'm gonna sneak up.
Okay. Is anybody else? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll take out my pan, and then I'll do a sneak and.
Okay. Very good. Is any now? Are you sneaking, Meph, or are you just not sneaking? Are you the bait?
Poet doesn't sneak. Coward sneak. It's not metal. It's not metal.
Cool.
In that case, I will take out my goon, instead of the pan, to cover him as we go in as the bait.
Okay, got it. So you're gonna you hang back and you're kind of covering him a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Lamb Chop, are you sneaking up with him, kind of like maybe off to the side or something like that?
Yeah, but I want to help because I'm concerned, so I want to like sneak really fast ahead of them.
Okay, cool. Very good. You can do that. So give me a sneak check.
All right. I'm diminutive, so I'm going to roll 2 dice.
You are. And you will take the best since you're a diminutive Muppet. You can sneak very well. You have bonus on sneak.
Yeah. So I have a 5.
Okay, very good. You get up there and you sneak. Now make me a thinking check.
7.
Okay. All right. You spot them before they notice you. So you kind of sneak through these strange abandoned sort of metal rectangles that are toppled over. There's an old husk of one of their boxes that they would use to get around. You kind of jump through that, kind of hop your way through the back seat, and you're up on the top looking out a pane of broken glass. And you notice a couple little long-eared creatures that are hiding just inside the building, and you notice them doing this. And you see their little floppy ears that they don't recognize. You recognize them as goblins. They are servants of the Goblin King. And they seem to have... Now, I mean, not all of them directly serve him. It's not like he has some formal army. These are all his children, right? And they kind of roam everywhere.
Yeah.
and you spot them, and you see that they have taken note of your friend who is walking in there, like straight toward them.
Ooh,
What are you
okay.
going to do?
Is it like my turn to act, or?
Sure. Yeah. What are you gonna do? They're not immediately acting, so go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna wait until the like my friends are kind of walking up, and right when my friends are about to arrive, I'm gonna perform a surprise diversion.
Cool. Okay, I like that. All right, so Poet, you walk forward, and you see 4 of these little goblins roll out of the broken glass that because the whole front of the structure was glass. Most of the panes are broken. There's a few still intact. But 4 of them kind of they like tumble out. They tend to often roll when they travel, so they don't usually walk. They'll kind of just like roll around and then pop up. And a couple of them tumble off of the over the barrier in front of the dusty, old white concrete. And as they roll, you can now make your distraction. They all kind of surprised you. They don't use weapons or anything. They're very simple creatures, but they look like they're going to go for you when suddenly.
What's my what's the roll for distraction? Is that?
What are you attempting to do? Let's
I'm like popping out into view.
Okay.
Of them, and going like, "Hey, goblins!" Because she hasn't really thought about what to do after that.
Perfect. Great. Yeah, that's wonderful. I love it. That's beautiful. Give me a thinking check. That's your distraction.
5.
Okay. Oh, wrong die for them. You outthink the goblins, and they all are like, ah, and they pop up and look at you and seem very confused, and then they immediately get kind of hesitant because they're not sure if there's maybe more of you hidden around, and so you see them furtively looking in all directions, trying to spy in the other abandoned automobiles or in the grasses that are grown up next to the station itself. So all of you will have first action in this particular engagement. So I'm just going to go around the horn, and you'll all get to take your actions first, since narratively they are sort of stunned by your distraction, and we'll see who goes when. Or what do you guys do? Sorry. So Poet, we'll start with you because you're the most directly close to them. They had rolled up right in front of you. What are you doing?
Goblins have a reputation for being bad Muppets, right? Like
yes, these are bad Muppets. Yes.
Okay.
There are like 2 kinds of Muppets that are sort of outwardly known as being very bad, and that's doozers and goblins.
Okay. Goblin Club. I'm just gonna.
Okay.
What do I use to bash?
That would be you would be making a power check against them. It is an opposed check, so they will make a power check against you.
Okay.
Okay.
Poet 6.
Oh, good roll. Okay, you get a 6. The goblin you're attacking gets a 5. You don't quite surprise him as much as you think you did, but you beat him by 1, meaning you do 1 point of damage to him. Okay. You kind of just whap him a little. Okay. All right. Lamb Chop, what are you doing?
Let's see. I have the high ground. That's good.
You do?
Oh, I know. I point to them with my hand on my hip. We have the high ground. And then I jump down, ruining that. And attack with my fluffy mittens.
Sounds
like
good.
A bop. Yeah.
Yeah, fluffy mitten bop, absolutely. So you can just make a power check against them.
I'm diminutive, so I get a penalty to this. I'm in penalty mode.
That is correct. You have to roll twice and take the lower roll. Yep.
And I have D4 to this, so incoming
Okay.
1. All right. Well, I rolled the first one, which is a 1, so we're going 1.
Okay. Well, he also got a 1, which sadly means you don't deal any damage. It's push, but you do kind of catch them. They're not the most defensive of creatures, but you fail to deal any damage to him. Okay. And Rocco, I apologize. What's your guy's name? Gunder? Is that it?
Gunder.
Gunder. Okay. I'll get
Yeah.
that. Gunder, your turn. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm gonna do a blasting and go bork, 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 and poof.
Sounds good. Okay.
Yeah.
Make me a power check.
Oh, this is on a D10, yeah.
Whoa,
I got a 9.
he's a dead shot with that rifle. Okay, you catch him like straight in the chest, and you deal 5 damage to that goblin. Because he got a 4. Okay, that one does not look great. All right, they go. They are scared by this very large boom. So one of them actually just immediately turns and scoots. Like the one who got shot wants no more of that, and he just turns and he like, they like hop, roll, and so he just kind of like founds his way back, and he just runs off to the back of the building, and he clearly is just skedaddling. The other 3 decide that they, they still think they can take you for the moment. So one of them is going to try to grab you and throw you up against the that disused automobile lamb chop. So opposed power check with me.
1.
Okay. Well, he got a 2, so he does deal 1 point of Muppitude to you. You managed to mostly get free. He can't like actually throw you. He just kind of shoves you a little bit. Okay, one of them charges straight at you, Gunder, and is going to attempt to basically just jump on you and start clawing at your face and beard.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
So that's an opposed power check.
Okay. I rolled another 9.
Okay, you just whap him with your gun, and he's like, there's just no effect there. And then, okay, Poet. One of them is going to come at you. It actually, since you have a bat, it reaches down and picks up an old discarded piece of like metal bumper that is rusted and fallen off, and it's going to try to hit you with that. Okay, opposed power check.
5.
It's a push. He does not deal any damage to you. So you managed to block it with your bat. Yes. Okay. We continue on then into the next round, and you guys still have the initiative here as you're still deciding the tone of this fight. So we're gonna spin back around. So Poet, what would you like to do this round?
Leave Poet Friend alone! And I run over and bash the one that's attacking Lamb Chop, daughter of Lamb Chop.
Okay.
Ooh.
By the way, if my dice rolling sounds loud, it's because this is the die I'm using for this. These are like 1-inch die. These are.
Oh.
Poet, get 8.
You crush that thing. Like it gets whacked. Yeah, it only got a 2, so you deal 6 damage to that one, or 6 Muppitude to that one. Sorry, I apologize. Okay, that one looks pretty rough. It had previously been uninjured. All right, Lamb Chop.
All right, I'm gonna climb back on top of the car, and then point and say, "We have the high ground again," in a convincing manner,
Okay,
so that they are demoralized.
I got it. Yeah, right on. Give me a thinking check.
9.
You absolutely crush them. They all seem scared by this speech, and they now have penalty on all power checks for the next round,
That's right.
as they're not sure what's happening. Okay, awesome. Gunder, what are you doing?
Yeah. I'm going to take my pan, and beat the nearest one in the head.
That's the one right in front of you who's trying to claw at you.
Yeah. Ooh, I got an 8.
Okay. You don't get quite as dead center of a shot, but you do certainly still do damage. You got a 5, so you get 3 Muppitude on him. Okay. Oh, sorry. Hold on. He has penalty. I apologize. Nope. He rolled a 5 first. Okay. So that goes to them. 2 of them are now on you, Poet. So they're both going to try to jump on you and swarm you. The first one, opposed power check.
10.
Yeah, you easily bat him away. The other one. Okay.
10 again! Poet rhyme!
Yeah. The 3 and the 2 they rolled is not going to cut it. And then the one who's attacking Gunder, opposed check. Uh-oh, we got a hot roller on our hand despite the demoralization. Yeah, you're still good. You still keep him out off you. Even though he was a hot roller, he still only had a 6. Okay. Ooh. He was the farthest from Lamb Chop. You know, because you're kind of out at a ranged place. So you two are kind of fighting under this hanging down awning where there's a car trapped under there. That's where your scrum's happening. Whereas Gunder, you two are like outside the actual structure. Okay, this is all just one stage. So you can all move on freely. All right. Well, after that demoralizing speech, you guys certainly retain the initiative. So, Poet, what are you doing?
All right. Poet's going to retrieve Clyde from his back now and start going, Poet, 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 and just starts bashing the crap out of this box as I work myself into a frenzy.
All right, power check. They still have they are still currently rolling with penalty.
9.
You crush that goblin. He is now Goblin Floof. There's no more goblin. Okay. Lamb Chop.
Lamb Chop is... Alright, she's still on top of the car. She sees that everything's working, and she starts laughing. Backlit. Drunk with power.
Nice. Give me a thinking check. Let's see how effective it is.
Based on its effectiveness, I'll say something. 4.
Okay. Yeah, you succeed.
Look at the power of the high ground. She's like laughing.
Okay. Gunder, what are you doing?
Well, I've still got Pan, and I still have a goblin. So, I whack. I got the 9. These are the guys I got to. I was so scared to roll shitty with them. I'm so happy.
No, you're doing great. You absolutely bring the Pan down. He had rolled a 4. So you do 5 Muppitude to him. Not enough to bring that goblin down. However, on their action, seeing the power of the high ground and how much they are being dominated, the two of them decide that their friend had the better idea, and they immediately tail out. They start rolling and running away into the brush and the sand behind the building. The thing you know about goblins is there's always more goblins out there somewhere. So you know.
Yeah.
Poet doesn't seem to notice this in his frenzy, and I'm like, the car and this weird rectangle has become like a makeshift drum set, and he's just banging around with his Poet, 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 just.
You work yourself out until you're tired. The strange box is now highly damaged. As a side note, I noticed that Mars joined up in the Discord. So if he wants to jump in, we can. I'll find a place to introduce him.
Hello.
Are you there, Mars?
He might have caught him off guard.
Yeah, he might not have known he was getting pulled down, so that's fine. Yeah, there we go. We can hear you.
Yeah.
Muppets Evolved. It's the future of RPGs. Tell your friends.
There you go.
Yeah, it is the way.
I actually can't hear him.
There we go.
There you are. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So we've got you in. You can turn your video on whenever or whatever, and then you'll introduce yourself because you'll show up tonight. Hey, there you are, buddy.
Hey.
Okay. So, you guys are able to then camp in this old abandoned station. You don't know what this... It has a sign that's collapsed. It just says, "It go." You don't know where it was going.
Ooh.
But...
That's deep.
Poet, write in journal. Song idea. Goblin. Clobbrin. Goblin. Clobbrin. Poet just seems to be thinking through a song, and it's very simple. Just a 2-note song.
All right, so let's do this. Then, over the course of that night, the fourth member of your group that was supposed to have left with you but got held up by Muppet revelry manages to catch up and join. So, Mars, please introduce your Muppet as you find them camping.
My Muppet's name is Fixer. He used to be a piratey Muppet, like to tighten nuts and bolts on wooden ships where nuts and bolts aren't often found. So the call to go into the Muppet waste to find new nuts and bolts to tighten or loosen was strong. I decided to join up with new friends.
Nice. What do you look like?
It's a red furry Muppet with a big nose that's blue.
Very nice. Awesome. Okay. And what was your name?
Fixer.
Fixer. Okay. Gotta make my notes.
Some people called me Breaker, but
Okay. All right. Okay. So, Fixer catches up with you, and you guys, you all manage to take shelter in the Itgo station for the rest of the night. Okay. That night, I need everybody to make me a thinking check as you all rest.
Oh no, I don't do good thinking.
Okay.
I got a 3.
All right. So Gunder with a 3.
Yeah.
Poet.
Question.
Hold
For
on.
the bonuses stuff, how do we actually add? Like I rolled a natural 3 for the bonuses. Do I add 2 to that or?
Yeah. If you have +2 or +3 or +4, you just add that to whatever the roll is. Yep.
Oh damn! Then I really shot the shit out of that other goblin when I rolled the 9.
Yeah, like if you're making a power check and it's like D10 and you bought a bonus of 2, then it's just D10 plus 2, and that's your roll. So effectively, your lowest roll becomes 3, your highest roll becomes 12 if you're on a D10.
Got you.
I got 9 then.
9. Okay, very good. And you said so it was 3 or was it higher?
Yeah. Gunderd, not good at thinking. Really,
Got
it a 5.
5, 9. Okay, Lamb Chop.
6.
6. Okay, and Poet.
Poet, put on glasses, make you think better. 5.
Okay. All right. All of you are going to have a pretty good memory of this then when you awake. So, that night, if we were playing in a live setting where I could play music without getting content struck or whatever, I would do it. But that night, you all have a dream featuring a massive musical number, and that musical number is hosted by a very tall, lithe, sort of what looks like a handed one, but you know that he's not. He's something else entirely. He wears like a very fancy blouse and has quite an incredible codpiece, and big, floofy hair that's just styled out to the nines. It almost looks like Muppet Fuzz. His hair is so wonderful, and you all recognize him as the Goblin King. And he sings a song to all of you and leads you in a little number that you find yourself swept away in. And the number is all about the Firebird. And he sort of dances you around the landscape. You move in speed and in a dreamlike fashion as the song continues. And eventually you find yourself standing on a mountain that has a camel on top of it. And he then sings a song about the camel. The song is about humps and things like that. And then he sort of ends the song by saying, "Find the camel," and then you find, and then kind of the dream fades, and you wake up in the morning. All of you made a sufficient enough mind check that you all remember the dream with enough clarity that you have an image of the sort of mountain in your head and the camel on top of it.
Poet is sleeping in the pose only a Muppet can have, where he's become just a slumping backwards, and then his head is completely open, just forming a straight line, and then when he comes up, he just shoots up. The glasses that are oversized and don't fit his face correctly, fling forward. Just Poet needs step up rock game. Hair King. Majestic.
We need even higher ground. A mountain.
with a camel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Humps,
well,
Camel.
just humps and cod pieces the whole time.
what? Yeah.
Wisdom. Poet, like it.
Okay. So you believe the Goblin King has visited a dream upon you that may send you to your destination or may be a trap. You know the Goblin King is a trickster.
Yeah, point of order, do we as characters, do we have any idea what the Goblin King looks like? Like, is this a mysterious figure to us, or is this like, this is the Goblin King?
Yeah,
We
he's
know it.
relatively. He is definitely the Goblin King. You know it. Like he is a creature of legend, and though nobody's ever seen him in person, he does show up in Muppets' dreams all the time.
Okay, so
For,
we know
like-
to be cautious of this dream instead of like it being a pure prophecy. Okay.
Correct. Like he will sometimes help people and lead them to wheel, and he will sometimes lead people on fool's errands. And where he decides to do one or the other is a mystery known only to the Goblin King. You know, he is an enigmatic figure. His children are agents of chaos, in the same way that the doozers are agents of evil. But he himself is an enigmatic and hard to define character.
For record, poet with D6 thinking, like Goblin King.
Sure.
I'm just really happy that the Goblin King is finally just doing something really nice.
If I know one thing about anything, it's camels are always trustworthy.
Yeah. You don't cook a camel.
Wait,
I've never heard of a camel.
what's a camel?
I
Well,
don't
no
know.
matter if it has one hump or two humps, it's safe.
Like everyone looks at each other and realizes nobody actually knows what a camel is.
Oh no.
Like, is there just like a Joe Camel sign somewhere in It Go Station?
That's what I was thinking.
Like where we don't even like we don't even connect the dots that it's like the signs.
You're having that conversation, and right behind you there is a rack of Camel cigarettes that have pictures of them on top of it.
And just
They
like,
kind of spill that on the floor.
what's a camel?
And then one of you happens to notice that and see the picture, and it just says camel, and then there's a picture of the camel on there.
Oh, these are the calling cards. We have to take them. This must be
Yeah.
the key to get to their land.
There's lots of keys.
Yeah, actually, Poet's right. Like, they're probably huge, aren't they? Like, a cigarette pack is probably half the size of my body.
To you, yes. If you're diminutive, you would carry one around like this, right?
Yeah.
It'd be like a body pillow to you.
All right, I'm going to carry it around, yeah.
Sure.
If we meet any camels, we can show them this, and it means that we're trustworthy.
Yeah.
It's a secret card, yeah.
Yeah, it's high grown, high smart. And I just like bear hug and a bunch of like camel cartons, and I'm just like carrying them like this, like dropping them the odd cigarette or box as we continue to roam.
We could stack them and make our own high ground.
Ooh.
Oh, bring the high ground with you.
Yeah,
Tactics.
Okay.
They
So
call me Thinker.
there you go. You guys, you guys collect up your spoils and your prophecy items here, and you head back out on the road. You have, by the way, the residual feeling from your dream is that it's to the west of you, right? Like that you're going the right direction. Like there is this feeling of like a pull, a magnetic pull toward the west and down this road. It's probably like the lyrics of the song had something to do with it, but you find that you can't recall the exact lyrics of the tune anymore, but you get the general feeling that like this was the right way to go.
While we're going, I'm going to be singing the song, except every word I can't remember becomes camel.
Sure. After about an hour, every
Of that
word is
song.
camel. Every word is camel as the dream fades. It's just literally like camel, 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 camel.
Camel!
That's it.
Like I join in and like start like shaking violently. Camel! Yeah.
Very nice.
We're in a desert landscape, right?
Yeah.
I have a. Does anyone know Camel's name?
I look at
Camel.
the key card.
Is this? Are we Going through desert with an anonymous camel.
A camel with no name.
A camel with no name. Been through this desert. There's like a song there.
Yeah.
We should work on that.
I can't reach my notebook right now.
I'm looking at the key card, and it says that smoking can cause a slow and painful death. Okay. Camel's name is carcinogen.
Carcinogen.
You're not in.
That's a pretty name.
Yeah.
I'll call it Car for short.
Who's a...
Yeah.
Apparently it's a general of some sort. Like it's got an army.
Yeah, Carl Cinnamon.
Wait.
General Carl Cinnamon.
Slow death. These are
Yeah,
weapons?
It slows death, so that's good. It prolongs.
Oh.
Keeps us going for longer.
All right, so we continue looking for General Carl Cinnamon now.
Sure. No.
That's how we know it's more trustworthy. It's a general, so
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, you
upstanding.
don't get to be a general without doing something impressive.
Yeah, I wish it was more specific, though.
Maybe there's a location on the
general.
key card.
Ooh.
You all continue on the road for a couple more days, but the travel is slow. Even though there is a road here, you're walking along, so it's not you hoofing it over nature. Like you're mostly sticking to this this black substance that you don't know what the substance is. Like you don't have a concept of asphalt, but you understand what a road is. It's still long. It's hot, and like the heat doesn't innately bother you, but it's still like. You find some of you have little pads on your feet, and you find them like kind of sticking to the road every so often, and that's very unsettling. They don't pull away cleanly, that kind of thing. So it's not the fastest of travel. A couple of times more you see, or you hear, I should say, especially at night, what sounds like goblins in the distance. But goblins often just roll and roam. They don't like stay in one place or tend to do that. They are just these weird, chaotic creatures that roll and bounce everywhere. And so it's not as though they're hunting you or pacing you or something. You'll just hear their weird cackling laughter and song that they singing in their own unique language that they do themselves as they kind of off in the distance, echoing around. This space is so wide and flat that like sound just tends to travel vastly over the distance. They could be a mile away from you or something, and still you'd still hear their song echoing out over the landscape of the desert. For the most part here, all of the desert flora still exists. There's still brush and weeds and cacti and all of these things one would expect. So lots of scrub and that sort of thing. You find it easy enough to take shelter every so often under rock overhangs or things like that. You have found a couple other buildings, but for the most part, these last couple of days, handed one settlements have been rare. You're mostly just out in this vast place. And as you, and it's starting to get to feel like you're just wandering forever. And you do your best to sing songs and to make merry, as Muppets are naturally happy and song-given, entertaining people. But even for you, it starts to become a bit challenging, this long, endless slog through this hot, sticky road desert.
This is the bad kind of death, not the cool music one.
The key cards warned us of a slow death.
The prophecy is being fulfilled.
These are truly prophetic.
As you're getting toward the end of your third day, you hear a sound that you don't really recognize. It sounds like like that kind of a noise, but lots of it and really loud. Yes.
The sons and daughters of animals may be familiar with this noise. When I was, fired from the band,
Sure.
They took mine.
Yeah, you then likely hear this noise. That's true. You would recognize this. So, although the strange boxes that humans drove around are a mystery to Muppets, there are, however, vehicles that Muppets do occupy, and you see them come into view as a large group of motorcycles with black leather-clad riders and black helmets. Start coming to you. They're coming from the sunset. The sun is setting over in the west, and they're riding towards you.
Land pirates.
So you see this silhouette of a dozen black-clad, black motorcycle bike Muppets riding towards you.
Do I recognize their battle armor?
It's not. They're not really wearing armor as much as they just have like.
It's in quotation marks. Yeah.
You recognize them as having that sort of thing, but they don't have any insignias that you recognize.
Not a rival band.
They look really cool. Are they friends?
Let's go ask.
As they get near you, they all ride circles around you. Like literally, they do the biker thing of encircling you.
I'm waving.
They are friends.
I'm waving.
Sure. And then they kind of stop, and they've now there's like 12 of them fully encircling you. And one of them kicks down the kickstand on the motorcycle, gets down, takes off his helmet, and you see that he's a pig Muppet. Okay?
Ooh.
And he says, hello. Muppets, out here, not on a bike? Very brave Muppet you must be. What are you doing all the way out here?
Oh yeah, I trashed my bike. Totally had one. Once.
Hi, you look cool. We're looking for General Carl Cinnamon.
I don't
The
know any
camel.
Carl Cinnamon.
It's a camel, I think.
Cool hump.
Is there...
With one or two humps.
Or like super high ground.
Yeah.
Well, if you're looking for super high ground, there is and super high ground and camels. Well, there's a mountain west of here, a pretty good distance, but it's known as Camelback Mountain. That might be what you're looking for. It's real high. And it's named after camels.
That's way better than a bad distance away.
That is.
The other bikers get down. They all take off their helmets. All of them are pig Muppets. And on the sides of the gas tank of their bikes, you see "Road Hogs" is written. The leader introduces himself as Father Torque. This is his gang, the Road Hogs. And he's like, well, we were just about to stop for the night. You're welcome to join us.
Yeah.
Ooh,
like
sure.
that.
Poet admires your motorcycles.
Yeah, these hogs are great. These hogs can only be ridden by real hogs. That's why we're the Road Hogs. It's a theme we have, you see.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. You got nuts and bolts in those bikes?
Oh, yeah, lots of nuts and bolts holding them all together.
That means they're good.
So,
Extra.
So these aren't the kind that blow up and randomly kill a bunch of your friends and family, right?
no, we don't blow up our bikes. We jump them. We like to ramp them. We do that.
Metal.
What's that?
You
Very
find a
good.
big hill, and you point your bike at it. You go as fast as you can, and you jump it way up into the air, and then it lands. It's amazing.
Oh, and then it lands?
With you on it?
Sometimes. Not always.
But there's a lot of fixing you got going on.
Would
Oh,
you,
we're
that's
always
a good-
fixing.
That's a good story. I want to hear more stories. Let's go.
Sure.
would you like some camels?
Oh, they're into that. All the Road Hogs like start grabbing.
I'm Poet is enamored with this successful biker gang, and so he just kind of extends his arm, keeping but a humble single carton for himself, so he can remember the prophecy.
Yeah, these are some hardcore Muppets. Father Torque leads a hardcore gang, but you win them over pretty quickly with your gift of camels. So
spreading the good word of camel.
Yes.
Yeah.
In sort of I don't know if this is still a thing, but to make a sort of reference here as to how they view the world. I know in Vampire the Masquerade, vampires are sort of afraid of fire, right? In general, and fire, but you can have this sort of the cause of fear, but you can build a resistance to it. There used to be a thing you can buy. I don't know the rules anymore. I played back in the '90s, but I would they all have one tick in that. Okay, so they're all slightly fire tolerant, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So they actually make themselves a small fire, not for any reason. They don't really care. They don't cook food over it or need the warmth. They just do it because to them it's hardcore that they can make fire and control it. So there's several of them take part in the camels. As you don't breathe, it doesn't actually do much of anything. That is to say, you don't have lungs. So it's they just burn down slowly, but they're pretty cool.
Poet tries to look as cool as possible right now in front of his new friends.
Sure.
He's got the whole Pac-Man mouth that goes the length, animal style, and he's just got a row of camels, trying to fit as many in his mouth as possible. He has no idea what these are for.
Mm-hmm. Side note, of course, smoking is bad, kids. Don't do it. It's bad for you. It'll kill you.
Yeah, winners don't use drugs, etc.
Winners do not use drugs. That's right. Okay.
It just makes you look cool.
Okay. Yeah. So they tell you stories and sing songs. They actually are real. Their musical style, okay, would best be described as 70s dad rock. That's kind of exactly very Allman Brothers. Yes, that's right. So that's how they jam out and tend to sing. And it's a lot of Ramblin' Man type of stuff, right?
Poet, slow head bang.
Yes.
But then lose control.
But they tell you stories of they sort of roam the West on their group of 12, and that's it. Their safety is in numbers, right? And their motorcycles, which they keep up, and they just borrow the fuel. That they explain how the fuel works to you. So they borrow the fuel from these existing stations that are all over the place because they need very little of it to go very far.
You made fire.
We're hardcore.
That is pretty hardcore. That is, can't be contradictory about that. Super hardcore.
Yeah, that's hardcore.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Probably not safe though.
I think that's why
we
it's
like
hardcore.
it.
Yeah.
So wait.
I'm taking notes. Hardcore because not safe.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
Not
it be hard?
safety equals hardcore.
So shouldn't we just travel in groups of one then? To be super hardcore.
You can't be hardcore if you get the big sleep fixer. That's the problem.
Yeah, and there's no point to being hardcore if nobody sees you and notices you're hardcore and tells you you're hardcore. So you have to be with people.
Yeah.
Muppets.
See, Lamb Chop's got it. We all remind each other how hardcore we are all the time. That's the advantage.
Yeah, that's positive reinforcement.
That's
Okay,
hard.
okay, I see now.
That's hardcore reinforcement.
Yeah, positive reinforcement is hardcore.
Exactly.
We wrapped around the message, kids.
So they'll tell you stories of just random things, run-ins with, doozers, and they tell you that there's a big Skeksis place out west, far beyond where you're going, but where the massive Skeksis edification stand. The entire sort of they describe these this golden desert out to the west that's just massive Skeksis statues built by the doozer gangs and stuff like that. They tell you that you should avoid that area. They don't go over the. They tell you there's like a final set of mountains that crest into a valley, and that valley is all Skeksis. So don't go past the last mountains. Always have mountains in front of you is basically what they tell you if you're going west.
Do we have to pass that to get to the Camel Hill?
No, Camel Hill's before that. You'll be fine.
Lamb Chop
That's
takes
good.
notes for the next song. Always have mountains in front of you. Great song title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So when you wake up, you all rest eventually or whatever. When you wake up in the morning, Father Torque says, "Well, we can always take you back west if you want. It's going to take you forever on foot. And going back the way we came is no different than going forward for us. We've been all up and down these roads. Y'all want to ride?
I like interrupting.
Yeah.
Can we do a jump?
Oh, we can do jumps.
And a fix?
Once you do jumps, you have to do fixes. Those two go together.
I'm in.
Okay.
This will be pretty metal.
And none of you are actually like big sized Muppets, right?
Oh.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, none of you are substantial, so you're fine. You can all ride on the bikes. They themselves are as pig Muppets, they're all average sized Muppets. So one of them puts you up on the handlebars, Lamb Chop, because since you're diminutive, you can ride up there. Yeah, you kind of sit on top of the gas tank, like holding onto the inner part of the handlebars where the curve is, right? The rest of you, if you're all average size, you basically jump on the back of someone's bike. None of them have sidecars or anything, but they're most of them are big enough to sit two people on the seat, or two Muppets, sorry, on the seat. Okay, and you guys head out. Befriending the Roadhogs makes your journey a lot faster, and now you you don't have helmets like they do. Again, you're not sure why they have helmets. Probably because it's hardcore.
Helmet's hardcore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the positive messages keep flowing. Yeah, helmets are hardcore.
Exactly.
Ooh, sharing.
Exactly. You tear up the open road at this point. And you get it. When you're cruising out, you guys are cruising through open desert. It's the sun is there, but it's not hot or uncomfortable anymore. Now there's this constant wind blowing the fluff of your Muppet fur. You see the massive horizon sprawl out before you, the yellow desert meeting the blue sky. Occasionally you see little tiny little tiny clumps of big brush or hills or something like that, or you'll see in the distance what looks like probably what was a handed one town, right? That's now abandoned to ruin. That was probably off of this highway, right? And you guys travel a lot of distance. You make your way across Arizona and into what would have been New Mexico. You don't use the state sort of demarcations or anything; those have no meaning. But I'm telling you so you understand the distance you're traveling. You, the players, right?
Yeah, New Mexico.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, New Mexico. I like it.
New Mexico. Yeah, it's great. Eventually, you come to like a big fork in the road where you see the major part of the highway kind of turns north, and they pull to a stop. And Father Torque gets down and takes his helmet off. He's like, "All right, well, this is where we part ways. We're heading north. Your way's that way."
Thank you. That was nice.
Good luck on your journeys. This was really helpful. And the jumps, I like the jumps.
Yeah, you guys
I like
did a
the
bunch of
fixing.
jumps. And by the way, you helped them fix their bikes several times as well. Because when you jumps, you hear things rattle loose ridiculously, and they have to stop. And then you were helping them fix. They are very enamored of all of you by the time you arrive. Between you helping fix it and your mighty offering of camels.
Ooh.
This is way better than wooden boats. Way more nuts and bolts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gonna have to
Well,
poet. Gonna have to get a motorcycle.
Yes. We should
Uh,
all get motorcycle.
Ooh.
Yeah.
he smiles and says, "Well, if you can find some hogs, ride is what I say. You just can't have our name." And with that, he mounts up, and you hear like the and they roll off in the distance, leaving you there in a cloud of dust, with the western fork of the road sprawling out before you.
Poet like hogs.
I like
Yeah,
the
they
extra.
were really nice.
They were.
Much better than bacon.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
Nothing.
you guys travel west. Now, you don't have to go too much farther. It's only about another day of travel. You make some camp, and then about midway through that next day, you find yourselves on the outskirts of one of the cities of the Handed Ones. And as you're traveling, you start to hear the sound mop, 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 like lots of voices.
I
saying
forgot
this.
about the Yip Yip aliens. It's all
Yeah.
coming back to me.
Sure.
Those
So,
things are truly horrifying to a child,
Sure.
I think. But
Sure.
anyway.
What do you guys do?
Gun. The gun.
Sure. Are you going to try to like you don't see anything at this point, you just hear it kind of around you. You're on the outskirts. So to fully describe the area, you've passed forward, you're leaving behind the desert, you're coming into the clearly what was one of these settlements, these cities of the Handed Ones. Where you are is mostly looks like homes and stuff like that. You see little side roads streaking off in homes, many of which are destroyed or in ruin. There's lots of different trees that dot these things, and there's other strange demarcations of concrete and stuff that run between them. Like every one of these buildings has concrete running up to it, and then there's other little concrete inside the concrete. It's very strange. The Handed Ones seem to like bisection and bisecting all of the natural sand for reasons unknown. And
They were very mysterious.
indeed, and you find yourself kind of amongst all of these buildings. You don't see anything yet. You just hear it echoing from amongst all the buildings.
Maybe they jumped hogs off those.
Oh, they probably did.
Need lots of bacon.
Uh,
Or we
Poet.
could scavenge things.
Poet think we should high ground. Poet points towards like the nearest big building to like climb up and maybe look into the city, try to find some of the source of these voices.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, you can do that. You basically find one of the buildings that's relatively intact. You're all able to scale up it. Muppets are well-known climbers, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And you get yourself up to the top. And you kind of look, and you can see that you're like... So giving yourself actually this advantage made a big deal, because there was sort of a small raise and then a dip into a valley. And now that you have this higher ground, you can actually see the outline of what looks like a mountain that has like two big humps in the distance.
Poet, look at the carton.
Yeah, like holding it up so it's framed and then moving it away. Yeah.
Looks
What
like
do
a
you
map.
see, poet?
Uh,
With your Muppet eyes.
it looks like a camel. Slow death.
Slow death.
Yeah. Yeah.
The mopping noises continue, and every so often, if you stay up here and you just kind of chill on the roof, you'll see one of these little pink fuzzy creatures that has like a triangular mouth, and it'll just kind of like walk out from one of the buildings and it just goes mop, 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 mop. And then it just kind of walks into one of the other buildings. They seem to be just sort of moving around. You don't see a ton of them.
Why am I getting like a zombie apocalypse vibe with these things instead of zombies?
Are they friendly?
You don't know. You've not encountered these types of creatures in your area. You are not sure what types of Muppets these are.
Poet, gonna wait for them and open a cart. Fistful of camels.
Yeah.
Then when walk by, slow death. And just like throw them down on it.
Throw a couple at it.
Yeah.
Okay. One walks by, and you do that. You throw a bunch of the camels at him.
Slow death.
And they all kind of like hit him and bounce off him. One lands on top of its head, and its little triangular mouth like opens up, and it actually swallows the thing and goes mop, 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 mop. And then it spits out a little pink piece of fuzz.
Slow
And
death.
then it looks up at you.
Both throw another.
If you throw a big pack down, this time now that it's aware of you, it catches all of them in its triangle mouth, and you see it like mop, 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 mop. It starts to move faster as more of it's there, and then it spits out a bunch of pink fuzz.
Can we tame it?
Ooh.
We'll feed it slow death.
So there's now like a small pile of pink fuzz that looks a lot like it on the ground around it.
Did that one move? My poet points at a piece of pink fuzz.
Yeah. It did not move yet, but I understand your question.
Yeah. Oh no.
And then as it's sitting there and it starts to be louder, because you're making it, mop faster, you see another one like bounce in from another building, and it's like mop, 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 and the two of them look at each other with their little googly eyes, and they start shaking their little antenna, and one of them's like mop, 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 and then it looks up to you, mop, and this one looks back, mop, mop, mop.
Slow down. Just like throwing fistfuls of like cigarettes.
Yeah, they keep eating them and then spitting out pink fuzz.
Poet, I'm not sure if this is a good idea anymore.
They like it.
I don't know if it's a bad idea either, but
We like it.
Poet, gone through half a carton.
We
There's a
have to
big
save
pile
them.
of pink fuzz now.
I think we should probably save them.
Converting these into pink fuzz is a bad ratio.
Yeah.
These are
they're
more
the word.
valuable.
They're the word of the camel.
Hello, I say.
Mop, 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 mop.
Ooh. All right, guys,
Mop.
I'm gonna try something. Watch. Mop.
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 Mop. They say it the same way. That was Vince mimicking you.
Do they mimic the way we say mop as
Yes.
well?
They don't mimic like the tone, but they mimic the length. They always speak like themselves. Like they don't tend to take your affix or accent on.
Mm.
But if you say mop quickly, they say mop quickly. If you go mop, they go mop. You understand what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
mimic your length, not your accent.
Poet, gonna try something.
It's mop
Yeah.
code.
There's now 3 of them, by the way. Sure.
Poet lets out the guttural like death metal like mop.
Oh yeah.
A third one wanders up, by the way. You see another one just
Oh
now
no.
all 3 of them are looking at each other. And there's this like instant communication when they all come close, where they seem to mop at each other and then look at you and go and let out a long one, whatever their weird language is. So you do your long mop and all 3 of them go mop. Mop.
Just bats come down. Mop, 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 mop. I start like putting on a rock concert, just like.
You're banging around, and all three of them start mopping in time with you. And very quickly, like... fourth,
Oh, we're gonna create a mop pit.
sixth... Like, you are... Depending on how long you keep this up, you start attracting significant numbers of these things. Like, if you go for your distance, you look down and realize there's now a dozen of these things down there. And they're all mopping along with you.
So I'm picturing like what they did in SpongeBob.
You notice they don't have any arms, by the way. They're just real quick. I'm sorry. I just wanted to like to try to. They're not coming up to you. They have no arms. They are just a like pink bumps, like U-shaped things, like upside down U's with triangular mouths and two Google eyes. So they have no appendages with which to climb, right? So you seem to be relatively distant from them. I apologize. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I'm just picturing like we're just gonna have to lead them out of the handed one's town with music.
Now got a dozen of them mopping to you.
Can I take a I'm curious. Can I take like we're on the roof. Is there like shingles or
There's shingles,
a
yeah.
pebble or an
There are certainly like loose shingles around, yes, because I mean you're on the roof. The house itself is in disrepair, and a lot of the shingles.
Yeah,
are
I'm gonna slide one off and see what they do with it.
Instantly, like the nearest ones to it, you see their big triangle mouths extend, and they're like mop 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 mop. And like if it breaks into like two pieces, it hits because it's old and dry and brittle. Each of them eats the piece, mop 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 mop, and then they spit out a whole bunch of pink fuzz.
I have a theory.
Ooh.
These are scary.
Yeah.
I concur.
And they don't have limbs, so they can't climb, so we're safe.
But they like poets rock and roll.
I don't think
And
I can play rock and roll no more.
Ooh, maybe try smooth jazz.
I'm gonna like look around. Are there like power lines and stuff? We can be above them the whole time and
It would be you'd have to like navigate. It would be tricky. Is it doable? Yes, it'll take some thinking to do it because you'll have to go from like plot a path and go rooftops. You'll occasionally need to go to the ground. There are a lot of like downed power lines. They're not charged anymore, so it's not like you risk catching on fire from the electricity. But a lot of them are tumbled or down. But there are lots of things you could navigate between and spend very little time on the ground, if any. But it'd take thinking. Like the better you are at plotting and thinking it out, the more you could navigate it and stay above them.
I think
like
they
this
might
plan.
eat us if we go down there.
Poet thinks they're kind of cute.
I think
Point.
Cop is right.
Okay. And I do have my goon. If we get into trouble.
Yeah, you're a star shot.
Yeah. The goblin went to go.
Lamb chop daughter lamb chop had high ground idea.
Ooh.
Poet, listen to you.
I have a plan. Let me draw. And I'm like drawing on the surface of it with a stone or something.
Yeah, sure.
Mm.
You know, it's the size of you. So yeah.
I'm just like plotting a course for where we go.
Give me a think check. You can have bonus on this.
Poet hand lamb chop crayon used for journal.
Ooh.
8.
Okay. You feel like you've got a pretty decent route that would keep you up off the ground for the most part.
Okay. To the high ground from the high ground.
To the
Ooh,
high
yeah.
ground.
Okay. You guys
High
all
ground.
line chop?
Yeah.
Put foot up on ledge. Thank you, Mopwalkie! Like, do the double, like, horns. Mop! And then just
They mop in time to you.
And then follow.
Sure. You guys all start following. So you're making your way from like lines that seem to run to the houses. Some of them you make it up onto a main source, kind of following these poles. Muppets are obviously naturally dexterous. Like that's not a concern. You can balance on high wires very easy and stuff like that.
Ooh, yeah.
You make your way along, and as you're going, you've noticed that the little pack of creatures are following you, and they're like mopping along. Like each of them, they just kind of have this hop walk, right? And as they step, they always mop, right? So it's mop, 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 and then they'll stop every so often and go mop, almost like they feel some kind of need to, right? And as
should
you're
we
going,
slowly pull ahead because their rate of the long mop?
they have this like almost accordion-like movement to them, right? Because individually, some of them will stop and then catch up, and stop and then catch up, and so on. As other ones are then long mopping and so on, right? But you notice that as you're going, you're pulling ahead a little bit, but the pack of these creatures is growing. Like you're pulling more into the pack as they're coming along, and you're making your way along the power lines and stuff like that, and you recognize that you've got probably 20, 30 of these things following you now in a big pack, and I was like mop, 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 like just a little swarm of them that's mopping along behind you. Okay.
What do we do at the end of this lamb chop?
I have a plan for that, which is probably going to be true by the time that happens.
And you guys come to a place where you're going to need to travel along the ground for some point in time. Okay. So you have a little bit of a lead on them. Okay. But they are, as you know, if you hesitate, you know they're going to catch up with you. So you're going to have to, like, there's nowhere else to go from here. There's a space up ahead where you can kind of get down, run along the ground, climb back up, and keep going. But you got to move fast.
Can Poet throw lamb chop?
It's a bit far for you to throw, but you could carry lamb chop if you need to, certainly.
Lamb chop,
I
little, big.
Yes.
Lamb chop on shoulder.
I have a plan.
What's your plan?
My plan is when we run for it,
Mm-hmm.
which is the plan,
Oh, yeah.
I shout at all the mops a really long mop so they have to mop instead of run
Nice.
because they
That's a
copy
good
what we
plan.
do.
Nice.
And so when I run across, I'm like, mop, with my arms like flailing and looking at them.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I need a power check from everybody except Lamb Chop because Lamb Chop is being carried. It's an opposed roll. They have penalty because they're long mopping.
Poet get 9.
Okay.
Wonder got a 10.
I rolled a 1.
Okay. All right. You notice, Gundar. You notice that that Fixer is falling behind.
Yeah.
So you're going to need to grab him and make me another power check. Also
Ooh.
with penalty.
I rolled a 3.
Okay, that's still enough, but because of their penalty, they got a 1. I will say that their 2 rolls were 6 and 1. So the 1 was the second roll. So penalty really mattered there.
You're my hero.
You grab Fixer and run as Lamb Chop is up on Poet's back, and as you long mop, like the whole horde of 30 stops and is like, "Mom!" As their mouths like stretched to the maximum thing, and then you guys scurry back up the house and get back on and keep running. Okay. All right.
Love to see it.
Okay. You guys continue making your way along until you cross over. There's a big line that runs over a huge stretch of raised road. Okay, this is like in our to make this absolutely clear, it's an overpass, right? Like it's a highway overpass.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean that doesn't mean anything to you.
This adventure should be called the Long Mop.
The long mop. And you notice that like all of the mops, all of these creatures, they just stop. Like you're following the power lines over there, mopping along right behind you. You're up to probably almost 50 of them at this point. Like it is a huge horde of these things. Okay, just mopping. And then you cross over the overpass. You notice like they come up to there's plenty of ways through, by the way, underneath. It's not like there's like you can see that they could just follow you right underneath, but they don't. they hit the edge of that and just stop. Okay, and then like as you cross, you see them stop. They all mop at each other. You see lots of like mop, 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 mop as they all look at each other frenetically, and then
Disperse.
Yeah,
Ooh.
they just start mopping away.
Gunder can finally hear himself think. It's not much, but I can hear myself think.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's quiet.
I miss them.
Me too. Poet too. Poet's like standing on the overpass looking back, and he gets like a lone Muppet tear.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
This best audience Poet ever had.
Sure, they
Lemchop.
wanted to
Yeah.
eat us. But they
Lemchop
were
looks
very
back.
enthusiastic.
Wait, what'd you say?
I said, sure, they wanted to eat us, but at least they were very enthusiastic.
All artists get eaten by the audience, metaphorically speaking.
And literally.
I wonder what it was under that overpass. Must have been a mop sign.
Okay. What are you guys doing? You're just standing up on the overpass now. By the way, you can easily find your way down the other side or whatever. Like, it's not. There's plenty of ways down.
Oh yeah, which
Yeah,
ways
spin
to the
around.
camel?
Poet holds up carton of half-missing camels and looks for the mountain.
Yes. Now that you're on the overpass and you're closer, like you're through whatever that was, whatever that
Yeah.
section was, and it seems like on the other side of this overpass is a very different set of handed one structures. Like you notice a difference in them. So like in our terms, you went from the suburbs into a more urban area, right? And now you're in like a retail district, because you would see things that are like big box stores and old abandoned Best Buys and stuff like that. But like, you know, again, these aren't concepts that mean anything to you, but that's the transition that you're going through right now, right? Yeah.
Yeah, forward towards the humps, the mountains.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
As you
Yeah.
slide down, you actually see a you slide down onto like what's a very wide road. Okay, so it's much wider than the road you were taking when you came into this city, and you actually see a sign that says camel something, and it just says like some number. It's mostly been scratched away, and there's like, you know, an arrow pointing up that way. It's like a tourist activity sign, just to again put it into the real world terms, right? That we would recognize, and it just sort of says like this direction. And as you're looking at that, you start to hear like a grumbly noise, like a very low like. And it's just kind of like everything here is very quiet, even though, I mean, I know we generally associate cities with noises, but again, keep in mind there's nothing alive here, so it's very quiet. And you hear this loud growl echoing.
Poet, look in direction of growl.
So it seems to be coming from a small cluster of buildings over there. One of the buildings has a very large purple bell on it. One of the buildings seems to be dedicated to some kind of toy, like some kind of Jack-in-the-Box toy. It's buildings like that. And amongst those, you hear like a loud growling noise.
Is that the direction that the tourist sign is pointing towards?
Not really. It's kind of off to the left.
Okay. I point to the tourist sign with the arrow and I say, "It's a sign."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes!
It,
The
like
prophecy.
super prophetic, yeah.
Oh, very deep. Very deep.
I start going that way.
The building
Yeah.
for our
Yeah, yeah.
success.
Poet follows the leader.
Okay.
Mm.
Are you all attempting to sneak in any way, or are you just going, like just heading on straight out?
Oh, yeah, we hear the growls, right? So
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
not metal to sneak.
Oh no.
Rock should be loud.
again, if you all, as long as you're not outwardly making noise, Poet, if everybody else sneaks, that still has an impact, right? It's kind of a group check idea, so you can all be sneaky, even if Poet is basically still just walking and refuses to actively sneak. As long as Poet doesn't actively make a crap ton of noise and ruin it, you're fine.
Does Poet see anything resembling a drum set?
No, not here. There's not a random drum set in the middle of the road.
Trash cans.
No, not on a major thoroughfare like this.
You guys are good.
On the off chance it isn't the building celebrating our success, we should probably be a little quiet.
Like, it's like the scene where, like, when people are, like hungry, everything starts to turn into, like, T-bone steaks, except, like, everything starts to turn into a drum set, like a car, a window.
If you did, I would shoot it first. Keep it away from you. With my blunderbuss. Very quiet.
So, absolutely, super quiet weapon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No one will know you're there.
Muppet will walk, quiet, but I'm totally not sneaking. That's for squares.
Oh, yeah.
It's
So,
pretty hardcore to sneak, though.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
hardcore to
Wait.
succeed at sneaking.
Wait, it's hardcore to sneak?
Yeah.
It's hardcore to succeed at sneaking.
Yeah, succeeding at sneaking.
Ooh.
Wait, how is it? How is it hardcore?
So in like a power metal song where they do the quiet part and then it like ramps up later?
Oh, yeah.
That later
Yeah.
is also later here. But like way later. I'll let you know.
We're doing the quiet part right now.
But then you get metaler later.
Yeah.
Metal. Poet will sneak.
Okay. I love this. If this was an ongoing game, I would absolutely award Lamb Chop some bonus knowledge right there for that one. Okay, everybody
I
make
do have the singer subtype. I know my my operatic metal
I
that
love it.
comes in scores and movements, yeah.
Everybody make a check.
I mean, this is actually like the second challenge, right? Because just because we convinced him to do it, now he rolls like a D4 and fails anyway.
Sure.
I rolled a d4 and I got a 1.
Poet gets a 2.
Gunder got a 3.
Okay.
Well, I got a 7.
Gotcha. They all turn and immediately trip over a set of metal trash cans. I know I said there weren't any. You found the only trash cans in a quarter-mile radius. Somehow. You're not sure where they came from.
Who's they?
Everybody except Lamb Chop. You, all three of you, immediately trip into trash cans.
Okay, that was a much sooner later than I was like thinking about.
Who put these here?
But I appreciate the effort.
Effort's not metal. Poet looks at his feet.
And you hear the noise stop. Okay. And then out from behind one of the buildings, you see a very, very big Muppet. So this is definitely a substantial Muppet. Okay. It's about 12 feet tall. It has mostly blue fur with massive green eyes, like 3 green eyes in a triangle, and a big giant mouth that fits up about like half its thing. And it's like, and it sort of like sees you and stomps towards your direction. It's just like, it's not running at you, it's just moving, and it moves quite quickly because it's big and it covers a lot of ground.
I have a theory, and that's not nice.
What do you do?
I shout,
Maybe
"It's later," and I'm like running.
Okay.
Maybe it just likes trash cans.
I'm gonna run now too.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
actually wants the trash. We should get away from its trash.
Yeah.
Do all of you just run? Just immediately open?
Yeah.
Poet runs on a delay, like shrug. And then,
Sure. You turn around and the other 3 are running. You're like, okay.
We're getting the hell out of here.
Okay. As you're running, you hear it be like, hey guys, wait, don't run away. Where are you going?
To the mountain.
That one Muppet.
Come back. I haven't seen anybody in a long time. I just want to talk.
Oh, okay. And I
Oh.
immediately believe it.
Sure.
Yep.
And run back.
It sounds nice now.
Ooh.
Oh, sorry, we thought you wanted the trash and/or wanted to eat us, so we ran.
Oh
Like the
no!
mops.
Everybody always thinks I want to eat them just because I'm so big, but I don't want to eat them. I just want to talk to them. It's really hard to keep friends when you look like I do.
Have you tried being less
Oh.
scary?
Yeah.
How would I be less scary?
Less growling.
Well, that's a condition. I can't help that.
Well,
I
Glimmer.
whisper at the poet. He's got breathing problems. Uncle Charlie Horse had him too.
Oh, the slow death.
Ah,
He smoked a
God.
lot.
So, where are you guys going?
Camel Hill.
Where's that?
Looks like
That
this.
Oh, over there. You should be careful. That place is dangerous. I don't go up there.
Why is it dangerous?
Well, that's where the big bird lives. It's a Muppet made of fire.
How can a Muppet be made of fire?
Yeah, fire like totally murders us and stuff.
It does normally, but I don't know. This one is.
Are you sure he's
It's
just not
real
really red?
scary. Could be.
Wait a
But
minute.
it looks like fire.
So, like, is the firebird a firebird?
That wasn't hyperbole.
Oh, its name makes so
I don't know
much
what that
sense to
word
me
means.
now.
Yeah, I thought it was like way more metaphoric than literal.
Oh yeah.
The Goblin Kings work in less mysterious ways.
Mm.
Poet is poet.
Mm.
You are, growl guy.
No, my name's Chillers.
Oh,
I don't get it.
pleasure to meet you.
Oh yeah.
You guys want to see where I live?
Yes.
No.
Only if there's candy.
He's
Ooh.
like, well, you're kind of here in it. I live all over here. All of this is mine. This is where I get to live. But nobody else comes around. Every so often, I've gotten rid of enough of those stupid moppers that they don't come over here anymore either.
Ooh. How do you get rid of the moppers?
And do they eat Muppets?
Poet looks super concerned at Lamb Chop right now.
Well, with the moppers, I generally just eat them. They're kind of like food. But I don't need to eat them, but they're fun to eat. They taste kind of like pink.
Oh, we should
They
have tried that.
I wouldn't have thought of it till now.
Oh
They-
no.
yeah, what they normally do is I've seen a couple Muppets get caught up by a pack of moppers. What they do
Yeah.
is they jump on you and they just start hitting you with them sucker mouths and they turn you into one of them. You come out just like them. They like eat you all up and spit out moppers that are they turn you into other moppers.
That's horrifying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Poet sometime don't know where his performance ends and his audience begins.
Ooh.
Wow, that's really insightful. Wait, what did this guy call himself?
Chillers.
That's really
Yeah.
insightful, Chillers.
So
I like the part where you ate them. That was a good story.
yeah,
Ooh.
they're
Yeah.
like little candies. So you guys are going to that big hill? You sure you want to go? Like I said, that Firebird's up there. If you wanted to, you could just stay here with me.
Well, we're on a quest. We have to go to the Firebird because that's. And Lamb Chop thinks about it for a moment and realizes she can't remember why.
We're curing the fluff rot, which is like a totally metal disease that's like super metal and inspired a concept album for Poet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That.
We could
Alright.
check for some moppers, though.
1 second. Poet got to write in his journal here. Mopper murder. Mop murder.
We don't have the disease, by the way.
Yeah, it's very important. That's why we got the ghoul.
I mean,
Okay.
but yeah, Poet and friend should keep going.
Do you want?
Well, I'll tell you what. If you pass back this way, it'd be really great. Maybe we could sit down. We could split a mopper or two. You know, it'd be real nice. We could have we could just talk. I really do miss other Muppets.
Why don't you come with us?
Yeah.
And we eat moppers on the way.
I'll tell you what. I'll walk with you to the edge of my territory, but it wouldn't feel right leaving it.
That's
Yeah,
understandable.
Lambchop's heart is breaking right now for this poor, lonely, hideous monster.
Oh yeah.
And so,
Wounder
she
is a
agrees.
good listener, so I want to listen.
So he walks with you. If you guys share stories and stuff like that with him, he listens intently. He tells a lot of stories. Most of them end with him being alone and or eating moppers. That's pretty much his. That's kind of his thing. He doesn't have a lot of other things going on.
Yeah.
Do you ever eat things other than moppers, like trash cans?
Nope.
I tell him my favorite nuts and bolts I've seen throughout my life in order of how much I like them.
He is enraptured by this story.
Nuts and bolts tier list
into it
when
than yeah, exactly. Some S tier bolts. He loves this story more than anything he's ever heard. It's fascinating to him.
And then here are the nuts and bolts that are my favorite. I took them from some motorcycles we found. They were extra, I think, and they're really greasy, and I like them.
He thinks they're pretty cool.
I'll tell him the story about the first time I lost my eye.
He tells you he used to have 5 eyes, but now he only has 3. He doesn't know where the other 2 went. They're around here somewhere.
Oh, but you can sew them back on when you find it. That's what I did 3 times.
Oh
He
yeah.
doesn't know how to sew, but he's excited about the idea. He
We
also
can
doesn't
find
know where
you
they
eyes.
are.
Mostly Poet sing until he feels better, and then worse.
The stories I liked that you told were the ones where you had candy and you ate the moppers. That was the fun ones. And the ones where you were alone were the sad ones. But the most important thing is to think about the ones where you ate moppers.
He
You
agrees.
can't,
And then try to do that more.
you can't have your highs without your lows.
Very true.
Yeah, there can be no high ground without low ground. That.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Poet stops walking entirely.
Gotta go to the final.
You,
Okay. You guys eventually get to the edge of Chiller's territory. He shakes each of your hands enthusiastically. In the case of Lamb Chop, I mean, his hand is like, your body is like the size of one of his fingers, right? So he's just like, very, very gently. He is very gentle when he shakes your hand. Like, he is very careful with it. He doesn't rattle you around or anything. And then he says, okay, well, if you guys come back, you should come visit me again. It was really nice seeing you. I enjoyed this.
We'll come
Oh,
back
hey.
and see you.
I just have one question, Chillers. How come they call you Chillers?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess it's because I'm so relaxed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty metal. Chillers?
Right.
Why do you live here?
My home.
Was there a before home?
Maybe. I don't know. All I know is this place. It's where I've been for so long now. This is where I live.
Have you tried moving? I moved.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know where else to go. I don't know anything else but this place.
Yeah, Poet moved too. Got kicked out.
That's
Oh.
called being evicted.
You should
No.
move to the place that we live after we
Oh,
cure
yeah.
the horrible disease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not before then.
Oh,
No.
Nice. Could you?
Oh, no.
Well, I'd go if you'd take me there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really far away. We just have to get to the Firebird first. So if we don't die, we'll come back.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And if we do die,
That
we
sounds
won't
great.
come back.
Are there other people there who tell stories? I'm sorry. Are there other Muppets there who tell stories?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them don't shut up.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll go get my things. That way, I'm ready when you guys come back. And Phil's like runs off. He's so excited.
But if we
Were you about to say? I know what you're going to say.
but if we don't come back, we totally died and we didn't forget about you or anything.
Yeah, if we don't come back, we
Okay.
definitely died.
He runs off.
There's always a Muppet in every Muppet special or movie. Oh my god.
I
love
love
it.
Seeing
Yeah,
that
I'm
big
always-
scary Muppet who was lonely because he looked scary, I think that teaches us all a lesson. That
Oh yeah.
It's hard to
eating
be big and
mops-
scary.
Oh, yeah, I guess that too.
Oh, what was the lesson? I didn't
I
learn
like-
it.
The letter A.
Oh, I didn't know the lesson. I just guessed that there was one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, don't hit a trash can around a weirdo.
I thought he was nice.
Yeah.
And I want to try to eat a mop now.
No.
But not a pop. So I don't think that would work well.
I wonder if... Yeah, we should get to the mountain.
Oh yeah. Go to the Firebird.
Man, I hope we don't die for a bunch of reasons, but also so that we can come back and be his friend.
Yeah, he seemed pretty
Yeah.
chill.
Okay.
Oh. How it
I
all
would-
makes sense.
I wonder if that's why they call them chillers.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys make your way. The rest of the city actually thins out here as you enter into an area that's almost a little more wild in the middle of it. So it seems like the city continues off to the south, but you're heading still west. There's like little hills. You pass through what looks like an old abandoned farm, stuff like that. And eventually you come to this Camel Mountain. And you kind of make your way up. And now that you're here, you start to have kind of flashbacks and images of the dream you had, right? So you have a pretty clear sense of where you need to go. It's up to like the peak of the taller hump, of course. But again, Muppets are natural climbers. So you make your way up the side of this mountain. It's largely just rocks and dirt. It's pretty easily climbable. It's a pretty gentle slope. You notice that there are trails all over this place still, probably from the handed ones. They seem to like to walk up and down large hills for no reason whatsoever that you can interpret. But it seems as though their trails have still survived. And every so often you'll see little wooden posts that they've driven into the ground with signs that have long since gone to rot or fallen off and don't say anything, but they were probably something that marked this trail.
Oh yeah.
You climb to the top of the mountain, and when you're there, you take in this incredible vista. From the top of this Camel Mountain, you can look and see for just miles and miles and miles in every direction, right? All the way back west to where, toward the next sort of mountain that you can see. So you see the whole width of this valley. You see the entirety of the Handed One's city, which seems to be almost like a U shape, almost completely encircle this mountain that's in the center of it. You see lots of this spread around. And, you see the sky just stretch out forever and ever and ever. It's quite beautiful. And as you're sort of looking around at the top of the mountain, you find a big, giant nest. It's made of discarded refuse from the Handed One's world. Like you see an old bumper like off of the car, the box that was there. You see like picked up road signs, large abandoned sort of sticks, and like the poles that you ran on when you were when you were, skirting across the high ground. Just all sorts of stuff like this.
Oh yeah.
It's just a big giant nest. You don't see the Firebird anywhere within it, but there are lots of feathers scattered throughout the nest. But as you look at them, and you go to like touch one of them, it just sort of, it's kind of, they're very dark. Like they seem like almost black. And as you pick them up, you realize that they're ash, right? And as you touch one, they just crumble away to dust. Like they're only holding their shape out of, just because that's where they're sitting. If any amount of force is applied, they fall apart, right? It's like a log that's been burnt completely through. Yeah.
A poor bird. Probably in constant pain.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not dead yet. Maybe this is the slow death.
Oh. Oh yeah. Very good. Very good.
I'm gonna start looking around and see if there's any eggs in the nest. Oh wait, I probably don't know the association between birds and eggs, but I'm gonna search the nest in any case.
Sure. As you start looking around, make me a mind check.
Ooh.
Poet 2 or just a lamb?
10. Okay. You start to go looking in the nest when something else catches your eye. You see a tiny little silver thing poke up out of the ground, not too far away from you. Okay. And then you notice, and the glint of it in the sun. It's sort of a silver piece of metal. Catches your eye. You actually see it like poke up, and then another one, and then another one, and then all of a sudden you hear like, and drilling up all around you from the dirt are doozers. Yes, exactly. There's about 8 doozers that drill up all around you. You all saw them. So, like, you saw them, and are you going to make everybody else aware? Like, you said doozers. Do you say doozers out loud?
Yeah, I say doozers out loud.
Okay. So, what is everybody's immediate action?
Hand on head, real quick. Doozers are known to be bad news, like just pure evil, right?
They're the worst of the worst. Yes.
Yeah.
They're the imprisoned, or imprisoned, the wrong way to say it. They're the complete servants of the Skeksis, the most evil of all Muppets.
Bertha and Clyde going for a ride, and they just like both bats come off of Poet's back, and he's just like, Poet didn't see him, so he's just like,
sure,
time to play wackadoos.
Okay. Fixer, what are you doing?
Pull out my screwdriver, ready to stab some of them.
Okay, nice.
Gunder will go and get his blunder goon, ready to go and blast some doozer.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Yeah.
So the doozers drill their way up. About 8 of them are currently in vision, and they all just start doozing towards you. They have little drills on top of their head, and as they come to you, they're going to try to just literally shove their heads into you. So this one's pretty even. So I would like everybody to roll me a d10 and tell me what number you get.
3.
Okay.
Gunder got an 8.
Okay.
I got a 1.
Okay.
Poet gets a 9.
Okay. So very simple here. It's going to be Poet and Gunder, and then the doozers, and then Fixer and Lamb Chop. Okay. So Poet, start us off.
Can Poet roll 2d4 plus 1 and hit 2 douchers?
Sure. That's fine. I'm okay with that. You'll roll against each of them individually, basically. Yep, I'm okay with that.
Power's a d8 plus 2, so.
Yep.
3 and 4. Doozers are like my sandworms. Hate them.
Sure. All right. Give me a second here. Just making some quick notes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So you said what was your first number? 3?
3 and 4.
Okay, got it. So the first one rolled a 2, so you do 1 Muppitude to that one. The second one rolls a 1, so you do 3 Muppitude to that one. You clock both of them solidly with your bat, kind of knock them back, and then they they ram their heads towards you again. Okay, Gunder.
Poet takes up Muppet Samurai Stance 6. I just made it up right now.
Oh yeah, very nice. Very nice, poet. Gunder is going to go and say a bork, 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 and shoot the nearest one.
Sounds good. So just so we have the layout here, you guys are kind of on top of the mountain. You're around the nest, and they've kind of popped up all around you. So it's kind of an even amount of space here. Makes sense. So you can certainly pick a target that's not close to you. Okay. So go ahead.
Oh, I got an 8.
Okay. You connect, and it rolled a 3, and you see him get knocked back, and he just kind of slides down the mountainside and does not seem to be getting up again.
You love to see it.
Okay.
Gotta throw that catchphrase in there.
Sure.
Go on.
The other doozers, there go. So they're all going to charge at you. So they are diminutive, by the way. They're little guys. However, it seems like when they use their head drills, they have a bonus, so they cancel out their penalty that they normally have for attacking. So, the two of you that drew attention are going to get the most doozers jumping back at you. So, Poet, you've got 3 doozers on you. Here we go. So, 3 opposed checks. So, first one.
5.
Okay, you managed to fend him off. Second one.
That's a 3.
Okay, you take a point of Muppitude. And the third one.
5.
Okay, you take a point of Muppitude. I got a 6. 2 of them manage just like neat. They kind of you mostly deflect them, but they kind of get in and scratch you up a little bit. Okay, Gunder, 2 of them on you.
Ooh yeah, I got the 4.
Okay, you take 2 points of Muppitude as one of them puts his drill into your leg. Gets a 6. And then the second doozer.
A 9.
All right, that with the second one, you managed to as this first one hit you and it made you hop up and down a little bit. As it drilled into you, you actually hopped out of the way of the second one. Okay, and then we've got 1 for Lamb Chop and 1 for Fixer. So Lamb Chop.
1.
Okay, you take a point of Muppitude as it gets a 2. It manages to drill into your clothes a little bit.
Did we get our Muppitude back when we rest or no?
You did, yes, you did.
Okay.
Yep. When you rested, you were able to sing songs to each other and such and heal each other up. You've had lots of singing and revelry and storytelling. You've certainly healed by now.
All right.
And jazz hands.
Indeed.
And totally
and
jumping
Victor.
sick hogs.
I got a 7.
You're good. You managed to knock the doozer aside. Okay. Brings us to Lamb Chop. What are you doing?
What kind of stuff, handed one stuff is around here? Is there perchance like a hose or a basketball or like what kind of?
Oh, any of that stuff. The nest is built from a random collection of just discarded things from the handed one world. So yes, certainly there is a hose in there. Actually, a couple different types of like hoses and piping. Probably not a basketball because it's more long. If you can picture long discarded
too long. Yeah.
things, right? So like the Firebird clearly got like signs and hoses and tubes and rods and anything that would have been long like sticks, but it used discarded elements of the handed one world.
All right. She's going to reach into the pile of refuge and pull out a tangle of Christmas lights.
Yeah, absolutely, that would be in there, sure.
And throw them at one of the doozers to tangle him.
I love it. Okay. Give me a power check. You can have bonus on that.
All right, so that evens out into just normal roll?
Correct. If you have bonus and penalty, it becomes normal roll.
3.
Okay. You managed to catch the doozer and the tangled Christmas lights. and it's just like trying to drill its way out, but it keeps like tumbling and falling. And then one of the lights hits its little head drill, and starts going like, it gets all spun up in it, and then it eventually spins him too, right? Like he spins underneath it as it gets wrapped up, and then starts whipping him and tying him, and you see him spin, and he just kind of like falls over, and he's not dead or anything, but he's just so like, you spun him silly, and he just kind of falls over, all wrapped up in the Christmas lights.
Can I say something too?
Yeah.
Oh no, you'll have to try to free your friend. Because I know if they try to untangle the Christmas lights, they'll become entangled too. It's impossible. It's
Sure.
the Gordian knot of
Everybody knows.
this world.
Yeah. Make me a mind check.
7.
Okay. Sounds good.
That action, man. That was a great description. That was a great roll.
Yeah.
Best plan.
I love it.
Hey, I have a D10 thinking. You gotta be a thinker
Gotta
sometimes.
be a thinker. You win by your wits just as much as your fists.
I love playing an
Well,
idiot
actually-
for once, by the
Actually,
way.
way more than my fists. I get
Sure.
1 every time because of diminutive D4.
Sure.
I love playing an idiot for once. Like, the unburdening myself.
Yeah, the simple pleasures, really. You know.
It's freeing.
Yeah.
Fixer.
I'm gonna pretend I know what I'm doing. Act like I'm
Yeah,
getting the swashbuckling fencing stance and just scream charge at one of them with my screwdriver. Ah!
Pose
I got
power.
You got a 10.
I mean, if this were to be a violent version of this, you would have stabbed. You stabbed back. Yes, you stab the doozer straight through the head, and fluff explodes out the back, and you do 9 points of Muppet to
Oh yeah, it's censored
What?
fluff. Yeah.
Yeah, it just it just explodes.
What have I done?
Watch Muppet Island with the Muppet Treasure Island special
Wait.
a little many times.
He loses the sword. Slippery hands, frog. Or amphibian. That's the line. Yeah, amphibian. And he goes, amphibian. Like, because he just throws the sword. Yeah.
All right, that brings us to the bottom. Everybody, roll a d10. All right.
2.
Okay. 2. Sounds good.
9.
And with that, be right back.
Sounds good. Fixer, you said you have a 9.
Yes.
Okay. And Poet?
6.
Okay. And Gunder.
Gunder got a 2.
Okay. All right. So Gunder and Lamb Chop are both on a 2, right? And Fixer, you're on a 6. Or wait,
9.
sorry, you're on a 9. Yes, there we go. Okay. So, Fixer, start us off. You've just speared one of them. There's other ones around you. Do you
Well,
give
look at
in
'em.
to the Muppet lust?
You did this to yourself! Charge at another one.
Okay, sounds good.
I rolled a 2.
Okay.
Ooh.
Do you have a bonus to it? Or is it just...
Yeah, it's I got 6.
Okay. You do manage to this time just scrape one. You get 1 point of Muppitude through, but it remains there. And looks like it's ready to put its head drill towards you. Okay, on a 6.
What?
I got, Poet's got, 2 hurt ones here.
He does, yes. You do the same thing again? Okay. Sounds good.
Ooh.
3 and 5.
Okay. The one that you just barely scratched, you just barely scratch again. It seems pretty dodgy. The other one, though, rolls a 1, and you conk him, and he falls down.
What rhymes with doos? You doos. You don't win.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. What are
That
you
is-
bruised?
that is the remaining doozers. Okay, so there's still 4 of them up. One of them is going to come after each of you, and the one that was on Lamb Chop is actually going to try to free its tangled friend. Okay, so here we go. On Gunder.
The fool.
I rolled a 3.
Okay, you're good. You don't take anything. Fixer.
I rolled a 7.
Okay, you're good. You managed to take him aside. And Poet.
5.
Okay, you take a point of Muppitude. They're really good at getting a scratch in on you. They're just working you down. Okay.
You just gotta do that like 11 more times or something.
Sure. And then the one's gonna try to free his friend. He doesn't get tangled, but he doesn't make any progress. So he's still just there trying to work.
Sounds like
Okay.
Christmas lights.
Sure, yeah, exactly. You don't always get all tangled up, but you often make no progress. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
exactly. All right, that brings us to our 2-2s. So Gunder and Lamb Chop.
Ooh. Lamb Chop, do you want to go? Because you've got the good plan.
Yeah, that's fine. You might crush one of them, and then there'll be less.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. Ooh. Okay, I go to shoot the one that's trying to free his friend from the Christmas light.
Sure.
I rolled a 2.
So what's your total?
No, just 2.
Oh, the total's 2. Okay.
Yeah,
You got it. You wing him, and he doesn't look like he's going to try to free his friend anymore.
I thought I was doing bonuses wrong at first, and then I realized, no, I was right. I didn't actually buy any bonuses, and I panicked, but we're good. We're
Got
good.
it. Okay, that's fine. Right on. And then I need to name those separately. That was a little oversight there. Sorry about that. I made that extra confusing. In my attempt to keep all words simple, I simplified too much.
Yeah.
All right, Lamb Chop.
And this means there are how many left?
There are currently 4 still active. 4 active doozers. The one that was helping his friend decided to stop helping his friend because he got shot.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. No, then I would get tangled. You have to stay away. I'm gonna put myself in between, or I'm gonna put the tangled one in between me and whichever one is closest to me.
Okay, sure.
And I'm gonna have have baseballs even and stuff like rotted away.
Yeah, basically, because there wouldn't be many like round things like that in
Mhm.
there, right? Wouldn't be as useful to nest building.
Some twig thing. Oh, I know. There's probably a broom, like a push broom.
Oh, sure,
Ooh, yeah.
absolutely, that would be in there. Yes, 100%.
All right, I'm gonna take the push broom and try to sweep the tangled one towards the other ones.
Okay, sure, right on. I mean, there's one right next to him. So just for that one, let's call it. Yeah, you're gonna actually make a sneak check opposed by his power because you're trying to be a little sneaky in this trap that you're laying here.
Okay. Diminutive. So am I retaining this bonus to sneak, or is this like
you
not
have a bonus to sneak?
Okay. 7.
Okay. You managed to sweep the tangled one into the other one that had now turned around and faced Gunder. So you like snuck around behind and swept him right in there. And he gets caught up in the same Christmas lights, like one of the long strand with the plug hanging out the end, hits the edge of his head drill and just goes, and it just like whips the two of them together and they smack against each other and fall down.
Time to clean up these doozers.
Okay.
This is a tangle you can't sweep under the rug.
We need a mop.
And yeah, now it's time for the next initiative. So roll a d10.
I got a 4.
Okay. 3. Yep.
3.
Gunder got a 1. His
Okay.
dice are betraying him.
Well, that makes this easy. The doozers are first, and then you guys all go. So here we go. The 3 remaining doozers. So the one that was on Lamb Chop is gone. So there's just 1 on each of the 3 of you. So Fixer, post power check as it tries to head drill you.
2.
Okay, you take 4 points of Muppitude as it drills right into you. Okay, Gunder.
Gunder got an 8.
Okay, you're good. You managed to prevent him from landing purchase there. And Poet.
Poet gets a 6.
Okay, it's a push. You managed to he starts drilling into the bat as he also got a 6. So he's just like, zzz, he leaves a little drill hole in your bat before you push him off. Okay, but you saw Fixer took a big old hit there. All right. So now, Fixer, let's go right up. We'll just go to you next. I'll just kind of do it the order. You guys are on my screen since it's not super relevant.
I rolled a 5 just to strike back in a panic.
Sadly, the doozer's ready for you. He knocks your screwdriver to the side with his drill head. Okay. Poet.
Got one doozer in front of me. Ignore it and go bash the one on Fixer.
Sure.
I fight for my friends.
I die more for my friends.
7.
7. Okay. You managed to deal 1 Muppitude to it. Okay.
That's a tough doozer.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
He's ready to go. That doozer only rolls 6s.
Poets found boss doozer. It'll be an honorable duel.
There you go. And Gunder.
Ooh. Well, Gunder has the 1 doozer in front of him. Yeah?
Yep.
Yep. Ooh, then I'll go out and take my pan, and hit it with a bork. I rolled a 5.
Well, it rolled a 1, so you smack it silly, and it slides down the side of the mountain. Out of the okay, so now there are 2 active doozers left. All right, Lamb Chop.
All right, I guess I'm just gonna keep throwing puns at these guys. Like, that's my job.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna reach into the pile and pull out like a laundry bin and try to throw it over the head of one of them and say, "This should hamper your progress."
Okay. Right on. This one will be a power check since you're just trying to straight up trap him in something.
I love it.
Ooh, that's a 3.
Okay. You throw it on top, but then you see it just drills its way right out the top of it and is now standing up on a higher ground than you.
You gave him the high ground.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. It has the high ground.
We have to
It
surrender.
zooms out and it comes up to my knee.
Yep. Okay. That's all of you, right? Yeah. That's
Yeah.
yeah. New Michigan. Okay.
5.
Okay.
9.
Gunder got an 8.
Cool.
6.
This time you all are first. So again, it doesn't matter. We'll start with Fixer. There's one left in front of you who's proved tenacious. He's a tenacious doozer. You might call him Tenacious D, for example, if you were just going to shorten that out.
Yeah.
That would make a totally sweet band name.
Oh, we should steal it.
Wait a minute. Isn't Tenacious long? Never mind.
I want to start off trying to talk to it first. Let's just be friends. And then try to stab it real fast.
You got him.
He fell victim to the old talkie stabby. Gets him every time.
Learned that in my pirate days. You talk with one hand and you stab with the other.
It works. And you bring the doozer down. Okay. Poet.
Going for a home run.
There's one doozer left.
Ten.
Yeah, you you nest him. So he is removed from the screen to the kind of a
Nice Smash Brothers reference, thank you.
nobody wants the bat. With that, all of the doozers are gone, and as in the fight, as you look back toward the nest, you see that the fight had sort of between you reaching in the nest and pulling stuff out, and just the general swirl. All the little feathers, Ash, had fallen apart, and your Heywoah's instincts were correct as you see a single felt egg somehow sitting in the middle of the nest, and it goes, and it just cracks open quite perfectly, and streaking forth from the felt egg is a Muppet that is made of fuzz and fur, but you notice that the ends of its little fuzz is actually on fire, like it's just the very tips, and as though it's, but it doesn't burn it. It somehow just seems to be perpetually the ends of its little felt wings, fuzz wings, are on fire, and it cracks and immediately just streaks up into the sky over your head, and just.
They grow up so fast.
And as it flies away, it leaves a little trail of flame, and then floating down on that trail, right in front of you, is a little orange feather that feels a little warm, but it is one big long, lamb chop, you catch it. Yeah, it's like that big in your hands. Yes, exactly. It's warm, but it's not actually on fire, but it is a perfectly healthy Firebird Muppet feather. Exactly what you needed.
We did it.
We did it.
Is this when we do a Kermit impersonation?
No.
Poet doesn't do that.
Okay. Yes, you all celebrate in traditional Muppet fashion, which usually means screaming, yelling, waving your arms around. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you are.
And we just do the instead of the.
My immediate question is: do you go back and get chillers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't lying to him.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get chillers, then your journey back is easy and peaceful, as nothing messes with you in any way, shape, or form while you have chillers with you. You also do manage to find a few, as you're making your way back through the city, you manage to find yourselves some motorcycles, and you know how to fuel them up now. And one of them has a sidecar that's big enough to fit chillers in it. So you're able to get 3 motorcycles. They do not have a lamb chop-sized motorcycle. But you might rework the motorcycle, which has a big sidecar.
Can Poet drive the one with the sidecar? It's like the most metal one. Literally, there's more metal when you have a sidecar.
Yeah,
You know,
there is more metal. That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I take the extra nuts from it. That's all.
You're not allowed near. You're not allowed near Poet's motorcycle.
You guys make your way back. You ramble all the way back to
Ramble.
to Mephisto.
Poet throws a camel in his mouth and chews it,
Sure,
trying to look cool.
it does not make pink fuzz, but it does break up.
How many mops did we eat?
0 mops.
Oh, they probably just stayed away from chillers.
Yes,
Huh?
they don't have
yeah.
chillers. They're very scared of chillers. Yes, he's too big for them to convert, and he can just pop them like Skittles. So it's not a great thing for them.
Ooh.
So, to be clear, those things would have totally tried to eat us, and Say,
Yeah, they would have turned you.
Yes.
Yeah, our suspicions were correct. It creates
They-
they are zombies. Like,
Wait,
yeah.
they-
They are Muppet zombies. Yes.
wait, they didn't like Poets Rock?
I think it was both, Poet. It was
Yeah,
both.
Chiller says they probably did. They probably still liked the music.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
why
they
it's
probably liked the
tragic.
music.
Yeah.
They just also wanted to eat you. You can be, you can be two things.
Poet can be both a musician and something else.
And food.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And you guys successfully return back to Austin, and the doctors that are waiting for you there at Animal Hospital. Previously, on Animal Hospital or whatever, they managed to convert the Firebird feather into a tonic that cures Muppet rot. And you guys are successful. There you go. Adventure complete.
Yeah.
Oh, and I didn't even have to use my secret weapon that I promised never to use, except in the most desperate circumstances.
Which
You should
was
use that now.
The greatest CC crowd control ability ever.
okay.
The song that never ends.
Oh, got it. But you only get that out in very, very, very dire circumstances.
Yeah, that's a campaign event level thing.
Absolutely.
Can't just use that on a random encounter.
So there you go. That brings us to the end of your adventure in Muppets Evolved. Did everybody have a good time?
I love this game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great
right.
game.
I had a blast. Can I ask you a few interview questions regarding Muppets Evolved? And I mean, you made it in 40 minutes just
Correct.
before we kick out of here. The progressing dice. Why did you decide that was the way to go for the mechanic? I think it's an interesting mechanic. You don't see a ton. You see dice pools, you see D20s, you see a lot of that stuff. And what you did was point buy for our character creation. We started with 22 points. We could buy our dice at D4, D6, all the way up to D12. We couldn't get past D12 to start.
Right.
So why'd you go that way for the design mechanic?
It was a mechanic I used in NGS in this game. That's sort of one of the basic premises of it. And I find it just works really well for narrative games, especially when combined with even minor bonuses. Because then characters who want to be good at a thing are really good at a thing instantly, right? But there's still swinginess to it. But you can just achieve numbers, those of you who had D10s, you could just achieve numbers that the doozers couldn't match, right? Because they were all on D6s, because their little head, they're diminutive, but their head drills counted out their penalty. So even if they're on a D6 plus 1, if you're on a D10 or a D10 plus 1, you can just have those big moments where you just wham into somebody, but you can also still have failure or whatever. So the bonuses correct the curve, right? But the die gives you big moments. And I like the ability to have big moments and to define your character. The way you leaned into it, having a D4 for your power, like Lamb Chop, or having a D10 for your power, or a D8 or something like that, it says something very strongly about you. You feel that in a very direct mechanical way that I feel is stronger. The sort of verisimilitude of it is such that it's more than just you have an 18 strength versus somebody with a 12 strength in D&D. Yeah, that's a big difference, but it's really only working out to +3 on a D20 roll. Yeah. It's not actually that big of a difference, right? The person who's the 12 strength wizard or something could make the strength check over the 18 strength fighter pretty easy, right? Whereas with this, there's just more numbers you have access to than percentage wise than the person with the smaller dice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I found the D10 thinking really allowed me to just be able to roll a 7 out of nowhere and just make something silly up that fits the game, and then suddenly these creatures have to abide by its rules.
Exactly. And that's why I like it for a narrative driven game like this, right? Where it's rules light. You're mainly relying on telling a story, because if you get a roll, then just tell me the story of what happens, and that's what happens, right? These kinds of games are great for just you make the reality, right? That's I'm good with it.
About halfway through, I was I say something, but hold on, let me roll, and then depending on what I roll, I'll say relative to how successful it was, that'll just be what I say,
Right.
Yeah, see, I went for a little bit like of a like a high base percentage. I went with like the D8 plus bonuses rather than like it seemed. I sense we had like a D10 power in there. Like I think the chef had a D10, right?
Goonder had
And I just went and bought straight dice, and then I was nervous that I actually screwed up the system. And I'm like, no, I did it right. Yeah, no, a D10 was great for my power. I had a D for sneak, D4 for thinking because. Now going. Ooh.
I did the D6 thing, like upon reflection, because I wanted him to put on the glasses like Nathan Explosion does when he's like doing like lyrics, and I'm like, oh yeah, like he totally has like, and so I'm like, if I ever get above like the 4 that he deserves because he's an idiot, it'll be because he had his glasses on. And so like that was that narrative thing. No, that was cool. And then Muptitude as a natural extension of the dice number and not the bonuses. So going for the consistency with a bonus as opposed to just like the raw dice sort of swingy power, you actually kind of like you have a lower health pool. Is there any logic to that, or is that just how it works out?
Yeah, it was to balance out because the mechanical advantage, like straight up, is to add bonuses, right? To like skew your character into one thing you're really good at and bonus the living bejeezers out of that, right? But then you actually end up robbing your health pool by leaning into bonuses real hard because then you like you smooth out the low number. You can't get ones anymore. As soon as you add a bonus, you remove the one as a possibility, right? You just can't do it.
Right.
So when you're rolling against people with flat dice, there's just numbers now that they can roll that you will automatically beat them on. Right? Even if you roll a 1 as well.
That's where I felt tanky, because I could roll a 1 and you could roll average on a D6 and I could push you.
Right, exactly. And so like the bonus has such a huge impact to the mechanical weight. Tying Muppitude to the base die made it so there was a cost there, right? In how you balance those two factors out.
Right. Setting wise, obviously there was some heavy lifting done by the inside joke told to us by the Rerolling Ones crew. They got these. They ordered. If you're watching this, you may not know how this came to be, but this was spawned from the Rantathon, that the MHA Mental Health America charity event I ran a little bit ago with everybody here essentially playing a role in some capacity, whether they were supporting in the background or being part of it. Like it was they received essentially the Rerolling Ones crew ordered tokens for Warhammer, and they got just these random tokens that said Muppets Evolved, and like they did Google searches. They have no idea what Muppets Evolved was, and we had this random conversation over the course of that marathon where they shared the story about Muppets Evolved, and you just kind of on your own, you just like, I just made the game. like why did you like? I mean, for me that was like. Was it the inside joke of it? Was it the, some downtime? Like, where did you... What about Muppets Evolved made Vince Venturella go, I'm going to spend, 40 quick minutes and just make a game out of nowhere?
When you were talking to the Rerolling Ones crew, somebody made a joke about, in the chat or in something, made a joke about Vince could probably write that game in an hour. And I was like, all right, well, let me see if I can write that game in an hour, right? Like, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
And so, I sat down and tried to bang out a version of it within, I got as far as I could get within an hour, and then I shared it out, and then I took about another hour and just did some cleanup work and added some other stuff to it. Just to, I added the extra story stuff, because I didn't have, the elements of the world and things like that.
You had some world building back in, essentially.
Yeah, just, giving little groups and stuff for people to play off of, I just real quick, I, literally brought up the Wikipedia of every Jim Henson production ever. Right, all the stuff that Muppets had been involved in, and just okay, and then I based a couple neat places in the world around that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, not that I'm not a huge fan of the Muppets. I've watched most Muppet things and most Muppet movies. Hence the inclusion of Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, as they're the otters who've overtaken the Louisiana swamps.
Yeah, and they're super xenophobic and stuff. So you made them into Deliverance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Deliverance, otters obsessed with Christmas. Yes, but I've had a deep love of Muppets. I really, really have loved the Muppets since I was young. As a point of just fact here, I own all of the Muppet Show, the original Muppet Show seasons on DVD, and have watched them all through, and all of the commentary, the Muppet morsels and stuff. I would recommend season 1 and 2 have these Muppet morsels on where they just give you facts. It's like pop-up video, but for Muppets, and it's incredible. But at any rate, I've watched more or less every Muppet type show and movie and thing,
Mhm.
and it's all my favorite stuff. So I really, really love the Muppets. Would you like to see the most amazing thing ever?
Yes.
I'll prove to you how big of a Muppet fan I am. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Let's go.
All right, stay here. I have to get up to get this prop. But just
Yeah, there's no more hiding the power level.
Yeah, he can't mask his power level any longer. While Vince goes ahead and grabs this, I'm going to go ahead and ask Mars, Heywoah, Rocco, do you have a favorite Muppet?
Grover.
Grover. Right on. Right on. Heywoah?
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Is
It's the blown up Jim Henson
Yes.
with Kermit on the shoulder.
Oh wow.
Like the 12-foot sprawl of
my
Jim
God.
Henson with Kermit on his shoulder. Yeah.
that is amazing.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
we can never unknow this about Vince now. This was
No.
worth the
Wow.
donations to MHA right here, is finding out this bit of information about Vince.
I would have
That is
never
epic.
guessed.
Yeah, we didn't know that you were Vince. We had no idea that you were a Muppetaholic or a Hensonaholic.
So I worked at CompUSA for years, and if you ever went into some place like that had an Apple store in it, so like CompUSA had an Apple store in it,
Mhm.
and hanging over the Apple store were these giant banners. I mean, you could see how big that thing is. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not fully unrolled, right? Like
It's
it's
12
like
feet
10
or so.
feet long.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
huge. And those hung from the ceiling, and it was all Think Different. It was during the Think Different campaign, and so they had like one with Einstein and all this different stuff. But one of them was Jim Henson with Kermit on his shoulder. And when they hung there for the entirety of the entire store, I opened a store and I closed that store when CompUSA shut down. And you bet your bottom dollar, I was up in the rafters and I was just like, nah, this is mine. Rolling it up, took it out to my car, slid that bad boy on in. I was like, this one is mine. I own this now.
See, this is your peanut story. I don't think you realize it, but you really deftly dodged a peanut story on the second segment of the Rantathon there. But now we have your peanut story. Is Vince Venturella like climbing through the rafters of a CompUSA, tearing down a Jim Henson, 12-foot tall Jim Henson bust that he keeps in his office. Yeah.
I would love to hang it. Like I've wanted to hang it for years, but the problem is, where do you put it? It's so big. It's taller than my floor to ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's I don't know what to do with it, so it just sits rolled up in my closet. Someday I'll find a place to display it.
It's amazing. So I asked everyone while they were gone, like if they have a favorite Muppet. I'm kind of working my way around, and we'll do the GM last. But Rocco, what's your favorite Muppet, man? You got to have one.
Man. It's always been Kermit for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. If I had to go for a second one though, because I know Kermit's a little vanilla. Snuffy.
No,
That's
I like that.
lovely. Yeah.
Snuffy is a second. Heywoah, do you have a favorite Muppet?
I've never seen any Muppet thing in my life.
Yeah.
I did this game hoping that I guessed what the feeling and
So why'd
stuff would be, right?
You haven't seen a
you go Lamb Chop out of curiosity? Which is, I don't believe a Jim Henson property, but like it's totally a
not.
puppet.
It was,
It's close enough.
It was
Yeah.
some Canadian American PBS show that I
Yeah, I mean, I know
probably
Lamb Chop. I
people
knew the
saw.
reference.
Yeah.
I thought it was great fun. It was great fun. Why'd you go Lamb Chop? Was it just I said some lore vibes in there, by the way. Not everyone's gonna know what lore was, but like the sort of will it and it will work sort of vibe that lore has was pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
a little bit.
Yeah.
The happier, not the happier parts, but I guess the carefree
Yeah.
sort of nature of it. But it was the only Muppet thing that I really remembered from my childhood that I knew anything about. And I'm like, well, this thing looks like a Muppet. There you go.
It's fine. You need to watch
I made the
original-
character in 7 minutes
Sure, yeah,
before
that's
this
it, that's-
before this thing. So I'm like, hey, I remember Lamb Chop. That's it. There we go.
Heywoah, you need to go back and like I'll find some choice episodes of the original Muppet Show and those, or watch the original Muppet movie. I promise you, it's some of the best, most enduring television that's ever been made because it works on multiple levels. The Alice Cooper episode being a particular favorite. They have
Vincent Price.
A Halloween episode.
Apparently, they have an Alice Cooper episode. I just learned this.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, it was a variety show. So it was done like the 60s and 70s variety shows, right? Like Laugh-In or all that kind of stuff. And they would have a guest every week. And, there's some, they have musical numbers. There's pigs in space. Like, the humor of this show was so sharp. There's a pigs in space thing, which isn't going to be anything to you. Just know that there's 3 Muppets. They're all pigs. They're all in space. They're exploring space. A pretty simple concept, right?
It's got some on the nose Trekkie type stuff. Like,
sure. Yeah. It's absolutely very influenced by Star Trek because that had come out at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. They get to the edge and they're like, oh, what is it? They're like, there's something up ahead. Put it on the view screen. And it's just like a bunch of gray mist. And they're like, what's that? And the computer in their ship is like, what's the edge of the universe? And we're a minute away from it. And if we go to the edge of the universe, you'll learn the secret of everything and have all knowledge if you see it. Okay? And so they literally, and they're like, all you have to do is wait 1 minute. And then a little counter literally pops up on the screen that says 60 seconds that starts ticking down. And the one Muppet walks in and is like, hey, I'm making lunch. And they're like, oh, yeah, that smells really good. And then they have to sit there, and it literally in real time ticks down the minute as all of them get too distracted by eating lunch because they're pigs and because it's funny and it's a good commentary on humans that we lose the long-term vision. Like, ahead of them is all knowledge in the universe. And by the time the minute ticks down, none of them are there, and the scene just cuts at 1 second because there's no pigs left. Like, it's one of my favorite jokes in the history of television because just the stones of the creators of that show to hold on a single frame, right? They don't move the camera.
Yeah, an entire minute is so insane. When the average cut on, especially back then on TV, was probably like 5 seconds.
Absolutely. That they just kept it there and literally counted down every second on screen. Right, and then had all of the Muppets walk away and be like, nah, I'd rather eat lunch than learn the secrets of the universe.
And I thought this was going to be an expansion of the universe where it's always a minute away forever because of physics, but this is a more poignant joke. Yeah.
Yes. So it's just like, it was a very smart humor that also had dumb stuff. Like Jim Henson famously said, if you don't know how to end a scene, just blow something up or throw penguins at it. So he'll have scenes that he clearly had like a great joke that he wanted to tell, but then didn't know how to end it. So randomly Muppets will just explode for no reason.
Well,
like,
no,
the scene will get to an end and they'll just explode.
No, this is my creative writer professor at UWEC, where like this is one of the big sticking things that I learned forever is if you write a whole movie, in this case it was a whole poem. If you write a whole poem and you just get one awesome line, then the poem was worth it. Because how many people write forever and get nothing poignant to say? This is where like a movie with just that one great scene, I'm like, if a whole movie existed for this one scene, #worth. And like and Jim Henson understood that on like a micro level of like, if you could just stick the joke, then who cares? Vince, your favorite? Oh, go ahead.
Statler and Waldorf, easy. It's Statler and Waldorf, 100%. Okay. Both of them. They are me. So like, I mean, they're just like they're surliest. There are YouTube collections of just their clips and responses, and I would watch all of them for hours. I could watch Statler and Waldorf riff for hours because they're genuinely funny.
Fantastic. And then Rocco, you going to say something there? Or? Mars?
No, I agree. I've seen hours and hours upon them. They are fantastic. Highly recommend.
Cool. So, did you purposefully channel A Tale of Sand, which was Jim Henson's like the script he fully wrote that never got created?
No.
No, that was on accident. Was it a good deliberate nod to Riff's New West?
Yeah, sure. Of course, that's always in my head. If I'm going to do a one-shot story, it's always going to be in the New West because it's just of course that's always the best setting, right?
Right. Cool. I mean, I just wanted to round out with some questions there. Thank you for running this, Vince. I mean, obviously, thank you for throwing together.
Yeah, thanks.
just a random RPG. Was this like a really good extension of the NGS system you wrote? Like this is like, hey, this is kind of what you can do, or was this you took some thoughts and then you kind of wrote a new thing?
Yeah, I took some thoughts and kind of wrote a new thing. I mean, what I'll say is, a thought for people: if you want to write games, the best thing you can do is write games. Like, don't just play games, write games. Like, challenge yourself to write a whole game in a page or 2 pages or 4 pages or something like that. Like, if you can make a coherent, and I've done this lots of times. Like, I'll write games just out in a couple pages that I think sound interesting, and then maybe they become a bigger idea, maybe they don't, maybe they're just there. But the repetition of deliberately practicing being concise and effective with rules that get to what you want to do in a simple fashion is really the thing that you need to learn as a game designer. So yeah.
Jim Henson Company, please don't sue us. This was totally a fan exercise. We just had a bunch of fun. Clearly we're fans. Came from a place of passion, I've found out, which is what I think makes the world go round, is when you're passionate about something, you can make something awesome. Rocco, your boy, Mars, thank you both for...
I want to say thank both of you guys for jumping in, man. It was great.
Yeah.
You guys were great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. This is a blast.
Oh my god, yeah, that was.
Yeah.
And I got to wear my old death hat. I haven't gotten to wear in a bit. So yeah, it was a good time.
You've downgraded. You're rocking the Jets cap now instead. And or sorry, Mets. Sorry, same feeling of failure, regardless of.
You might spend money with your New York team. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
All right, and of course we will be back with Soulbound. I had a confession from Vince tonight. Others be damned, I will run with one player next week if I must. We will be back with Soulbound next week to kind of conclude the Anvil Guard segment of the campaign. So if you're looking for, I'm sorry your regularly scheduled Soulbound action was interrupted by Muppets, but I had a blast. I hope you did too. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, everybody. Chat gang, you know it. You're the show within the show. You're the reason we do this thing. Thank you for supporting me this whole time. Thank you for supporting the community, and thank you for supporting MHA. I think it's more poignant than ever. You donated to make this happen tonight, and you've made a difference. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you around.